was around the COVID time when the stats came out, and they released the streaming numbers, and it was like, not only are we number one, but we're double number two, and that's Friends.
Flash through the garden gates, lips wet with language, no violent memory, no simple precedent, and I know it's true.
Welcome to another episode of Bussin with the Boys. I am your host, Will Compton. If you are watching right now, YouTube, Rumble, please make sure you are subscribed. If you are listening on audio platforms, again, make sure you are following along with the page, subscribed everywhere. Our social media channels at Bussin WTB. We are a podcast that brings the locker room to life. Before we get into the episode, this week's episode, we are brought to you by the one, the only, the Chevy Silverado. This is a Chevy truck podcast. Chevy trucks are the greatest trucks ever built, and our good friends at Chevrolet have been a big part in the Bussin family and even our personal lives. The Chevy Silverado, by the way, your boy does have a ZR2 truck, and it is incredible. Chevy Silverado, the longtime awesome partner of the show, a truck with commanding and unstoppable grit, with legendary capability and dependability too. So find out for yourself. Like many of the other boys, head to Chevy.com, check out the Chevy Truck Grit, build your own Silverado, and check out what current offers are out there during the Chevy truck season. For do-it-yourself projects to road trips, off-road adventures to tailgates, whatever your thing is, it all starts with the Chevy truck. The boys, at the top of this episode, if you're watching, we have on Brian Baumgartner, most notably known for The Office. We get into some fun little stories about his relationship with fans and how people feel like they personally know this man. So he does have some funny one-off stories, how much he loves the golf world, the people he's met through the golf world, and everything he's up to today. We also, at the top of the episode, that will be at the end. Our boy Mitch does a great job of putting the chapters in the YouTube description and in the audio description. If you guys want to jump forward, fast forward to any of these moments, we get into the chaos over the weekend of gambling with the boys out in Chicago with Dave Portnoy, Big Cat, Ryan Whitney, Biz, more, and all those Barstool personalities that were there. Your boy absolutely sucks at gambling. We dive into that and why you should fade me for the rest of the tournament. We also talk about our spring tour and what's in store for that. Florida State, an update there. We are pulling the live show. You will find out more in the episode. We also talk about the NFL free agency, some twisted questions, shout out, no free shout out, all your fun loving stuff in the episode. There's a little bit of airport drama with the boys toward the back end of the intro, but you'll learn all of that in this episode. Thank you guys for tuning in. Seriously, every subscription, every subscriber, every comment means the world to the boys. Make sure you're leaving comments. Make sure you're engaging with our pages. We will be doing the same on our end as well. Enjoy this episode. Big hugs, tiny kisses, as always, for the boys. All right. Let's lock in with the Lucy, boys. Listen, I got my ass reamed over the weekend. I'm saying, hey, I lost. Number one, I lost money. There's no running from that. But I think I might have won a total of 4 bets, counting a couple race to 10s. We got into this race to 10 because I'm kind of sitting there. Number one, by the way, the DraftKings Sportsbook at Wrigley is incredible. The vibe was awesome. All the boys there, like, it was a fun time. But I remember before I left when we were in the gambling cave, and I silently shotgunned like 2 high noons at the end of the stream. Shane was texting me. He's like, I'm watching the stream right now. He's like, you need to get the chat going. And he's like, shotgun something silently, but don't tell nobody. Just quietly do it. He's texting me all this stuff. And I was like, okay. Because we ended up going back and forth, and I go, tell me to do something, ... with the devil face, like we're sexting. And so I go and grab a high noon, shotgun it, do another one. But before I left, I just remember telling Big Cat, BC, I was like, you guys talk about this is the greatest weekend in all of sports. Gambling, like, Will can't wait. It was my first time. I'm excited. And I got absolutely murdered on everything that I was picking. Dave's out here. He's gambling anywhere from, like, his number was like 66,000 to $250,000. And just, he's losing the same amount, or he's losing the same games I'm losing. Because I like look over back, damn. I bet, hey, I had 500 on it, man. If that makes you feel any better. Ryan Whitney, he was down. I don't want to say it because we were kind of talking like how we're gonna have some of these conversations when we get home. Like, hey, how'd you do? And kind of like depends on how you look at it. Yeah, I put that tweet out of the conversation with Charo. Like, I forget what it said, but it was like, oh, it depends on how you look at it. She's like, how else can you look at it? I was like, well, I have a beautiful family and I love my life. So there's always perspective in everything. But I lost I lost so much. Geared up. Dave, did you guys see the clip where he's like, I've never seen a team let somebody down the way that they've let you down. Just, oh, you gear up and every time you show up, you just keep getting hit in the mouth. He's like, but I got to give it to you. You keep coming back. Which that'll forever be the case. We did get destroyed. The first couple minutes, did you guys watch the game? The first couple minutes of Tominaga just banging threes. I was like, yo, let's go. This dude's going to light it up. But that fucking Taylor cat from A&M, he was like 6 for 6 from three. I will say the tournament, watching it has been a lot of fun because you just kind of, I don't know, you're just kind of in it. You're just keeping up with absolutely everything. We were in the gambling cave on day 2. Day 1, we were at the sports book. Truly there from tip off to the very last game. I'm getting back to the hotel like midnight, just thinking like, where did the day go? Like, where'd the time? We're literally just sitting there melting, watching games. And when you have to wait, my whole thing is this, and you guys know how I'll get antsy and start wanting to bet drives in football and quarters and it's like you want to feel something, so you put something in. Somebody's like, hey, let's do a race to 10. We hit the first race to 10 that we do, and that was the worst. That was the problem, is we thought we were going to bounce back. We had some like plus 300 race to 10, and we were all fired up. And so we just go, from that moment, we go 0-5 race to 10 the rest of the day after winning that first one. And we just kept doing race to 10 because when we would place our bets, right? Like we'd be fired up. Like, I don't know, Dayton the first game, we'll put it on Dayton. And then you kind of got to wait to the end of the game to kind of get into, all right, March Madness, back and forth, sinking last minute shots, cover, this, that. But in the beginning, it's kind of like, all right, how do we do something that we can feel this excitement right now versus we have to wait to the end of the game, especially in the very first slate, because there's only like 1 game on, 2 games on. It's not like all 4 games going at one point in time. So we get into the race to 10. We start betting. PFT hit first points. Who make it? He hit 2 in a row out of the gate. I'm talking like they hit a plus 600, a plus 500. And so we ride a couple of those. Thinking like, oh, what does he say? He's a gremlin. And overall, it was a great time. I got abused. My unit has unfortunately like ticked up, which isn't a good thing. Gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER for those watching. DraftKings Sportsbook is the best sportsbook out there. But yeah, it wasn't good. I lost a solid amount on Nebraska.
You feel bad at all for not going to the game? You think the outcome might have been different had you been there?
I don't know if the outcome's different. I felt bad all the way leading up to the game because I had talked to Coach Rule the day before. I was like, hey, I'm trying to feel Dave out. And for those who haven't followed the saga, we had which we can get into, the Dave and Busters. We didn't show for this bracket Busters last week. Dave reams us out verbally. We go, we're going back and forth. I realized that I'm trying to go to this Nebraska game on Friday. Dave's going to be there until Saturday. And the whole time he is under the assumption that I'm going to be there. Because even when we laugh about, we'll get to this hypothetical story. So fast forward to, we're there at the DraftKings Sportsbook. I had talked through it. I tried calling Dave the day before to be, hey, I got this opportunity. I got this op. Nebraska's got me tickets. Johnny Manziel's got me a ticket. He was courtside. It was like low level tickets with Coach Rule. I tried calling him. He didn't answer. So then I sat on it more. And then I text Big Cat. I'm like, hey, I'm going to drop you a hypothetical. Big Cat then just FaceTimes me. And then I also asked Ryan Whitney about it. He was like, does Dave think you're going to be there on Friday? I was like, absolutely. He goes, I don't know if I would. He's like, but he's not going to fire you. So, it'll all end up as content somehow. And I said, is the unnamed show? I was like, when are you doing the unnamed show? And he was like, Friday. And all I put back was perfect. That was when in my mind, I was probably still going to go. I was kind of up in the air, but I was probably still going to go to the game. And then I talked to Big Cat. Big Cat's like, throw up the hypothetical to him. This is the exact same scenario, probably around 6 p.m. on Thursday. And sadly, Wit doesn't, I'm not going to say tattle. He doesn't tattle. I was giving him shit for being like, yo, you just ran to Dave and fucking tattled about our conversation. They flew together from Boston to Chicago. But apparently it had come up the week of the bracket busters, and he's like, I don't think Will's gonna do this, but and he's like, nah, never mind, I'm not gonna tell you. And then Dave like brings it out of him. He said, you have to tell me. And so he basically says it. So when Dave comes to the sports book, he sits down next to me and he tells Big Cat, and he's like, I just turned down these courtside seats to Caitlin Clark. And he's like, and Jimmy Buffett, like, I guess he loves Jimmy Buffett more than Taylor Swift. He explains. He's like, and Jimmy Buffett, I had these tickets and I'm not doing it because I said I was going to be here. So I got to be here. I know it's like a reunion thing. There's like some like a memorial concert, reunion concert, something like that. It's like, man, I caught pass on a couple big opportunities, but I saw this smirk on his face that tipped me off. Like, he already fucking knows. I'm thinking Big Cat out of me already. I'm like, BC, what the fuck, dude? I look over to BC. I was like, and Dave starts jabbing at me a little more. And he's like, and Big Cat goes, hey, I think Will has a hypothetical for you. And I'm like, okay, we're doing this hypothetical at like noon or 11 a.m. Like, I got to be prepared. That's when that clip comes. I'm like, hypothetically. But at the time, I think Big Cat has outed me already about doing this stuff. And so I bring up hey, hypothetically, let's say you played at a school for 4 years, sweat, tears, blood, and the school, they're offering you these low-level seats, courtside. Johnny Manziel's going to be there, courtside seats to go support them. They make you a full uniform. But hypothetically, you have this commitment to be somewhere on that Friday. And a superior just reamed this employee out, this hypothetical employee. If you're the hypothetical employee, would you take this opportunity to go cheer on your school for this once in a lifetime, like bucket list, whatever I say? Mitch, you can run the clip if you want.
Hypothetical.
This is
It's hypothetical. So I need a hypothetical.
Hypothetically.
Response.
Yeah.
Let's just say hypothetically, you went to a school, and that school was to give you courtside tickets to go watch them in March Madness when they've never won a game. So hypothetically, next to Johnny Manziel for the Nebraska A&M game. In this hypothetical situation,
What?
if this guy were to go, this guy also, for whatever reason, I don't know his situation, but one of his superiors verbally reamed him earlier in the week. And he's thinking like, hey, should I go to this Nebraska game?
I can't believe how perfect this worked out. That Dave sat down and was like, I turned down.
All right,
front row.
Mississippi State.
Yeah, I didn't know.
How well, what worked out?
No, that he.
The hypothetical?
Yeah, no, that he turned down the.
Well, I just
front row
turned down,
seats.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm giving
So
you a different
hypothetically, you wouldn't even. This isn't even a question he'd
How do you
ask
feel
you.
about that?
It's hypothetical is whether you'd even raise the hypothetical.
But it's not.
Right.
Yeah, this is all
Right.
hypothetical.
Right.
What
Because
would you
none of
think
this
if that
actually
employee went to
happening.
the Nebraska game?
No, you're committed. Like
That'd be crazy, right?
If you went?
If they went, not me.
Nuts.
This hypothetical
Nuts.
person.
nuts. It's crazy to even think in this hypothetical.
I
I would
agree.
even
I
hypothetically
agree.
be like that. He would have hypothetically called Ryan Whitney and been like, "Should I go to this game?" That would be hypothetically crazy. That
There's a
question-
hypothetical. I
Hypothetical.
agree with you.
Hypothetically, Dave.
Career suicide.
This person might have called me last night asking for my hypothetical advice.
And maybe Whitney hypothetically got the call, and I hypothetically have these Caitlin Clark tickets hypothetically too, just to be
I
like.
hate.
But it's good that we've all been living in
Agree.
hypotheticals.
Yeah.
We never even asked it.
Crazy
That's
thought.
crazy.
That's a crazy thought.
And Dave's like, no, I mean, I just turned down everything. I wouldn't go. I was like, yeah, stupid idea, right? But we're kind of just messing around back and forth. And I was like, Big Cat, what the fuck? He's like, dude, I didn't say nothing. He's like, no, Whit told me on the flight over. Like, oh, hey, you're never going to believe this. He kind of painted it a different picture against Whit. And then there's a commercial break. Dave was like, he was asking, he's like, hey, so where's the game at? I was like, oh, it's in Memphis. So it's like 2.5 hours north of Nashville. He's like, oh, that makes sense. And he was like, what kind of tickets? And then the conversation kind of faded into something else. But it felt like if I would have truly been like, yo, I do want to go to this game, would it really be, I mean, is it going to be, are you just going to make content? Or are you actually going to feel some type of way? I didn't ever ask him that question, but I felt like he would have been, oh, bro, you can go to the game. But being there at the sports book and being like with Biz and Whit, Big Cat, Dave, Rico busts in, Jerry, Brandon, Titus. Now I feel like I got to name everybody so I don't leave anybody out. Mincy, you get the fun Mincy, the Mincy-isms, making money. And the vibe was just fun to where it was like, it's like I wish I could have been in both places. Because I thought it'd be funny, like if I'm in that full uni, just sitting on a stream, like around all the Barstool guys, wishing it would have been a better fight than what it was. Because Dave ended up getting mad because I got mad. We lost like another bet. And Whit had asked him, like, Dave, what are you going on this next game? And I was like, don't even fucking ask him. Everything he says, he loses. And he's like, I'm fucking, right there, I'm fucking A&M, fuck you. He's like, fuck Nebraska. And so we had this back and forth. He ended up losing the first to 10, A&M, Nebraska. That's what made him walk out of the stream. And he, like, it was we never got to have as much fun with it. But, like, I felt bad because I felt like I let Coach Rule down. I called him. I was kind of texting him. He's like, bro, do what you got to do. He's like, I swear, I promise you it doesn't bother me. I was like, all right, honestly, I'm probably going to hang back and just cheer on, because I was like, and guys were kind of telling me they were pulling for Nebraska. Like Titus had been talking about Tominaga all year. Guys were like, hey, Nebraska, I'm rooting with you. Rico brought his Nebraska sweat. So part of me was like, I felt like I would have bailed on them wanting to root for Nebraska. So I ended up not going. And the whole time, Rule is sending me photos. Empty chair at dinner, empty chair at breakfast. He calls me on the bus with all the Nebraska fans and the donors and the alumni. Everybody's like, want to know, where's Willie at? Where's playoff Willie? I was like, why do you gotta do this to me? Yeah. Then Dave comes up and Coach Rule just immediately goes to battle. Like, hey, he said something like, I'm Team Compton, not Team Portnoy, whatever. So yeah, it did suck. However, in the middle of the game, going towards the end, like when they weren't making a comeback, I was like, man, thank God, like I'm not there. I would have just been like sitting there looking full uniform next to Johnny. The way he was tweeting, I was like, God, he would have been giving it to me the whole time, and there would have been nothing I could have said. I would have probably started yelling at the players, just projecting on them. Do something.
There's a stat out there that Nebraska has never lost a basketball game that Will Compton has attended. Not that that will make you feel any better.
Nebraska has never lost a basketball game
that you've been at in person.
Is that true?
Yeah.
I've been to 2.
Right.
I want to say the very first one I went to, they might have been playing Kansas on my recruiting trip. Ain't no way we beat Kansas.
Since you were a student, not your high school years, like when you became Team Nebraska.
Yeah, maybe my brain's not thinking of it. Like, yeah, at a game, I think we beat Texas that one time I was at a game. But since I started rooting for them a couple weeks ago, they just lost. Like, maybe I'm fucking cursed. Like, truly, I might be the problem.
Compton curse.
Yeah, I know. But I did root for Tennessee. I covered with Tennessee. I didn't publicly say it. Like, maybe that has something to do with it, because I just texted Jack quietly. And honestly, when I sent the text, I was hoping that Jack wouldn't be like, God damn it.
I was so sick that I was just like, you're lucky that I got a GBO, but I was just like, GBO.
Yeah, you put GBO. I was like, oh, that went better than I thought, because JP's out there putting Compton curse, and I truly am losing. Hey, Jack, we went from losing, getting whooped in the basketball game, to Jerry and I on the iPad, we got the NCAAs on the wrestling tournament, because we had a couple guys. We had 5 All-Americans, which is, I think, the most. But we only had one guy go to the semis. Love it. Who's the 1 seed? Who's a monster, and he's in the semis. He's going to wrestle like right after Nebraska loses to A&M. And I'm like, on to wrestling. We got love it. So I'm watching the wrestling match, the semis. He gets upset.
You didn't want to get pretzeled?
No. He didn't get pretzeled. Hey,
that was crazy.
We've got to look up where that kid's from, because we got to save face a little bit that hopefully he's not from Nebraska, because it truly could not work out any worse that it's a fucking Nebraska guy getting spladled. How do you wrestle your entire life? Like, spladle's something that you laugh about as a kid, and you kind of get your you kind of get your partner in it at practice and be like, man, that'd be sick if we can get some kids in this one day. And you wrestle your entire life. You never go over a spladle like in practice or train for it or anything. You kind of just like, if it happens, like it's like a once in a lifetime op. You wrestle your entire life just to get spladled on national television in the NCAAs at you're a D1 wrestler at the University of Nebraska. And you're just sitting there like, you even see the look on his face. there's nothing you can do.
What do
You
you
just
think
sit
go
there
through
on the
your
iron
mind?
cross. Like, what do you do? Just start throwing elbows and just get DQ'd and be like, I can't go out like this.
What would you do?
You just rip apart. Brock Hardy, man, where's he from? Utah. Yeah, that makes a little bit more sense. He freshman. He's gonna be. He's gonna bounce back. But I feel so bad for Brock that he got spladled. Like, and that truly is like my Nebraska fandom in a way, especially when I'm hard pressed for the boys. God. Apparently, our baseball team's doing all right, though. I do want to start rooting for him a little bit more. Because I will say what, I know, we're joking and having fun. But one thing that March Madness, like, it was doing for me in the moment as I'm, like, rooting for teams and pulling for Nebraska and everything else, it makes me kind of, like, want to be, like, a sports fan. Like, just follow the team and be a sports fan in all the sports. So you can just be, like, you can just be riding with the boys. JP, I feel like you're like that. You're like that for the most part, right? Basketball, football. Does Bama have a good baseball team?
Yeah, right now we do.
What's the record?
We're in the top 10.
Ooh, I know Tennessee does. You got Tennessee's solid at baseball.
Pelo's got those boys dialed.
Basketball, baseball, football. It just seems like a fun thing. Like, we should, if it worked, the timing works out. I don't know if it will because I think it's in the month of June. But if we get out to Omaha for the College World Series, it's such a good time. We go in college. It's such a good time.
I didn't realize that being there for you guys during college.
Yeah, bro.
Would be awesome.
Like one of the few things a year that the state of Nebraska had. Because when I was in college, we didn't have the Haymarket. Like the vibe that we go to now, like when we go down to Lincoln, it was mostly just O Street. Like you'd end up at the brass rail every time or the bar. But now Nebraska has more stuff to offer. But every year you'd have that summer, you'd have the lull in the summer to where you got to be there for training and everything else. But they would always have the College World Series out at Omaha. And it's a blast. We should probably just go out there. That'd be a good vlog, regardless what teams are in. I would assume maybe one of our squads might be out there.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, one of the teams will make it this year.
I got to go all in on bowling. I know we have a historic, like a true legacy program. We're a true blue blood in bowling. I think like 20 something natties. Look that up, Jack. Nebraska bowling national titles.
This one says Nebraska bowling has won 8 national titles since becoming a varsity sport in 1998.
8? All right, maybe not 20.
1998.
Oh, 11. 11 national championships.
Don't let them get upset this year, Will.
Established themselves as NCAA's premier bowling program. Finished runner-up 4 times and is the only program to qualify for every NCAA bowling championship.
They need to send you the uniform.
Bro. What's their uni look like? That's true. That's a great point. Because as I'm going so hard for Nebraska basketball, there's a part of me that, I have to. The shorts, the skirt, everything.
Let's get DMs from all these girls saying, please do not bring this to our sacred lane.
Everyone's like, I was like, how's the baseball team doing? Everybody's like, please stay away. Because I feel for him, bro. Because man, I truly felt like a jinx.
Do you want to hit this so we can put it at the front of the episode, and then we can hit an actual ad now because we're already 20 minutes in.
Okay, so let's do it. Yeah, let's do a.
All right,
what ads do we have? Let's talk about DraftKings, the greatest sports book imaginable. The thrill and excitement of March Mania is here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, one of America's top-rated sportsbook apps, is giving new customers a shot to turn $5 into $150 instantly in bonus bets with any college basketball bet. Here's what I'll do for you guys. I will be giving my picks throughout the course of the week for the DraftKings Sportsbook. Your best bet right now is to fade me. Fade Willie is the hashtag. North Carolina listeners, don't forget DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in your state. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code BUS, B-U-S. New customers can get $5 to get $150 instantly in bonus bets only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code BUS. The crown is yours. Yesterday, you guys are listening to this now. Monday was an off day for March Mania for the tournament. Sunday I went 1-5. The day before that, where was I Saturday? Saturday I kind of laid low. Honestly, I won a couple games Saturday, but I just stayed quiet about it. Through my fucking guy, the high schooler he was like, "Hey, Will, I've watched the stream the last 2 days. I've got to help you out." I think he gave me, I forget what he gave me. I can't remember. But he gave me like 2 winners and I won that day. I won 2 bets that day. But if you look at my record on Thursday and Friday and Sunday and combine them, I think I might have went 5-20, 5-21. Not good. So for those listening, I will be giving my picks. And trust me, I've accepted the responsibility right now that I will be the fall guy. And I will bet these games. I won't just say it because I feel like the universe, the gambling gods, they, for whatever reason, like I got to be the one they just got to kick and stomp on. So I will put in money. So that way it's true. I'll give my picks. I would recommend, these aren't guarantees. You can never say anything like that. I would recommend fading me so you guys can make money and be profitable. I'd almost rather do that, take on that responsibility, than continue to just think like, this is it. This is where I'm going to get back. I'd rather just be a loser for you guys so you guys can win. Will you guys do that?
Yes,
Unless
sir.
it's Tennessee.
Yeah.
How do you want me to handle Tennessee, Jack?
Just stay away from it.
Okay.
Don't text him about it.
Honestly, though,
I won.
Yeah, you did win. I don't feel as nervous about Tennessee because you've supported them wholeheartedly in the past, and it's never been an issue. So I almost feel like the gambling gods are
torturing me.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, just. Oh God! I saw. Hey, by the way, you saw Chancellor Plowman press charges on old boy. Got him arrested.
Gandhi is queen.
Yeah, she is the queen.
She rides so hard for university.
You know what I'm talking about? Garrett JP. There was like this. Who'd they play the other day?
Who? Texas?
Yeah, Texas. This Texas cat just throws like aggressively. Just.
Oh, that's real? They really pressed charges on him?
Yeah. Well, the tweet I saw, yeah, it seemed like it was.
No shot. He did it to the other player, right?
Texas threw down a Tennessee guy.
Yeah, no way. No way they actually pressed charges. It's just a flagrant foul.
You think I'm getting trolled?
Yes.
Classic case of Will.
All right, let's stay away from Tennessee at all costs now.
Hey, did it happen?
No.
Press charges on that.
I thought you were talking about the NIL situation that we had going on like a month and a half ago, where she released a statement against the state of Virginia. But you're talking about the actual player with the flagrant foul.
I saw that tweet.
Whoever crafted the tweet did a good job. He got to ride the plane back with the team, but he will have to appear in court. And I remember looking at the video like, damn, they can really do this? Like, it just seems like he... What?
You can press charges on every football play.
What's his name? Devontae Adams.
Oh, yeah. Well, he hit the photographer.
I mean, pushed him a little bit.
I mean, I'm team Devontae, but...
Breaking news. The NFL has banned the hip drop tackle.
No, are you kidding me?
I knew that was gonna hurt you.
That's a stupid fucking rule.
Let's hear you. I don't know. They haven't said anything on specifics.
All right, sorry to interrupt. I got after this hip drop penalty came out, I had to work the phones. We got Delanie here. I wanted to get Delanie. He was coming to visit the boys. He actually broke his leg on the hip drop tackle. So we got Delanie here, someone who has had experience with the hip drop tackle, and we're also going to have special guest Kyle Long. He's been somebody who's been very vocal already in social media saying that this is a great rule, yada, yada, yada. He's already chirping and trolling the defensive players about, hey, learn to tackle better. So we're going to get him, and then we should probably have a good little debate and argument about it. But are you kind of like pro hip drop, like take it out?
You know, it's weird. I'm kind of on both sides of the fence. I feel like since it ended me.
Hey, when you came in, I was like, bro, what do you think about this hip drop tackle? He was like, that's how I broke my leg. I'm like, oh.
I'm like, damn, you didn't see it?
I'm like, oh yeah, damn, I forgot that's how that went down.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm biased. I feel like that's how I ended my career pretty much with that tackle. So yeah, I hate it. I think that it's a bullshit tackle, but is it something you can teach players not to do? No. I think it happens in the game, and you never gonna know it's gonna happen until it happens to you.
Until you're just in, and then you don't even know it's happening. You're just reacting like. Yeah. We'll get Kyle on because he's got to hear this stuff too. I feel like he's gonna be chirping kind of. He's gonna be pro new rule.
Yeah, I'm
gonna
sure.
So we'll be able to figure out wiggle room here, but we're gonna take a minute. Next time you see us, Kyle, we'll all three be here and we'll all be ready to argue about this. I can't wait. We might have to get up and reenact the same shit.
Yeah, that.
Because that's true. You don't know until like. You're not like in my brain. I'm not thinking, damn, I'm beat. Let me go to the hip drop tackle.
Yeah. It's like, damn, I'm beat. Just get him down.
Yeah, get him on the grass.
Get him on the grass. Like, I understand that when I played on special teams, I'm sure that's why I don't want to say I'm pro with the rule, because they could probably, this is the new internet, they could pull up 100 clips of me hip dropping cats on special teams.
That's right. You did do teams. So you kind of know. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I know if you beating me, I'm dragging you down. Like, I'm going to put all my weight to drag you down. It's not that I'm trying to land on your ankles. I'm literally just trying to get you down. Yeah. So I understand that. That's why when old buddy broke my leg, I wasn't even mad at him because it was part of the game and he was just trying to get me down. And that's pretty much what it is. But is it a good rule? I mean, how many ankles have we seen get broke in the last 4 or 5 years?
Enough to make that a rule?
I think it's enough to make that a rule.
You think there's enough? You think it's enough?
I think it's enough.
I just feel like it would be good to know the data, I guess. Like, I could be talking out of turn without understanding all the data. I'm just thinking, like, to me, it seems like it doesn't happen enough to make it a rule. You're saying like there's been enough to where it could be like, okay, that could be looked at.
It's been enough. It may not have been where they broke their ankle, but it's been significant injuries where guys.
But I wonder what percentage of guys get injured on a hip drop tackle. You know what I mean? Just like, okay, we've seen enough injuries, but how about the ones we haven't seen that haven't been injured?
True, but they're saying it. So some of the highlights I saw y'all post earlier, it was guys who got hip drop tackled but didn't get hurt. They popped right up, but it looked like they got hurt pretty much.
Kyle, can you hear us?
Yeah, you guys talking about cheesy tackles or what?
Okay, here comes ex-offensive lineman Kyle Long.
Yo, I got to give a shout out to my man right here, one of the best tight ends to ever do it, and me and him have never really had any crossover, and I laugh so fucking hard every time I get Compton on the set with old D-Walk over here. So funny. It's good to be on here with you, bro.
Oh, same here. Thanks, man.
Hey, so this will be a nice little roundtable discussion because Kyle, you're already making your sounds out there on social media, trolling what you do best. And I think it's absurd that this is a rule. Now we have Delanie here who broke his leg from a hip drop tackle. That's what essentially ended his career. He could never really get back right since that tackle. But he's kind of on the fence of being like, yeah, it's a bullshit tackle, but also like that's the nature of the game. Why do you feel like it's such a good, why are you out there being like, oh, this is a good rule, this is a positive rule? Do you know the data?
We're cleaning things up. It's not like we're changing the framework of the game, bro. We're taking a play that happens once a game and more. Now we've seen it happening more. Guys see that it works. I mean, obviously we can get a guy down, you take their legs out, you drop on the back of their legs. Bad things happen. But look, it happened once a game per game in the NFL. So it's not like changing the game. People love to bitch about Taylor Swift. They love to bitch about things that happen once a game. It seems to be a theme around NFL fans. And I just think that if you're a real fan of the NFL, you want the best product on the field. In order to do that, you want the starters, the elite players on the field. Who's going to get the ball at an astronomical rate compared to other guys? The stars. And if they're getting tackled at a hip drop tackle, things could happen that are bad. Now your team is without one of the best. Now I'm a football fan on Sunday. I can't bet on X, Y, or Z team because all their guys got hip dropped.
Right, but essentially, it's still going to be a part of the game. It's like injuries will still happen, and now it can just be penalized, so it can actually decide. It probably, like, the chances of it are, like you said, it's one tackle a game, and the chances of it actually happening in a critical moment is low. But the moment it does happen, and somebody doesn't get injured, and a hip drop tackle is made to keep somebody short on a crucial third down, it's going to piss everybody off because now the game is now in the hands of the referees.
True.
Like, do we have the data that on a hip drop tackle?
The game would be in the hands of the tackler, right? I mean, and there's a certain number of tools you have as a football player, and as an offensive lineman, there are a certain number of ways to skin a cat in regard to run blocking and pass blocking. There were certain things that were globally accepted as legal. There were certain things that were in the gray area, and there's certain things that you, as a defender, when you see guys do it, you say that's fucking dirty. I wish it wasn't even in the league, but it's part of the league. So on the other side of the fence for you, there's certain things that are acceptable. We can all agree that should be out of the league. This is one of those things that I think is a non-negotiable thing. Like, we're going to keep guys healthier. It's not telling you can't hit guys hard. As a matter of fact, it's not even a hard hit. It's a hip drop. It's a lazy man's way to get a guy down. Go put your shoulder pad in somebody's sternum if you want to make a statement.
How do you go? Sorry, go ahead, Delanie.
So should we change the box of where we can hit a player? Because now you're saying, go and hit this guy, put your shoulder pads in his sternum. But sometimes when you do that, you get a penalty for doing that too. If you hitting them in a certain area.
It's unfortunate. That's the nature of the violent game that we play. And I mean, we've seen so many terrible things happen to guys. That's why we've had to trim the fat, tweak the margins. And this is something that we're going to have to play with. Is it one of those rules that's going to stick forever? I'm not sure. I think there could be a better penalty for it. Like you're saying, this is one of those things that people are going to get bent out of shape over, but it's a trial period. Our game goes through this. The only thing that's constant in the NFL is change. And I know people are like, what would Dick Butkus say about this? Well, the game that he played was drastically different than the one that we're all in love with during the football season. So I hope that people can come to an agreement here eventually, but I'm just really glad that player safety is obviously being prioritized.
The union made a statement saying that this is not what the union wants. As you're talking about player safety, they even went from that angle and said, yes, player safety taken into account, this is not a rule that we want to see come into play. And I guess, and again, you do a great balance. You're well-spoken, you're well said about all this stuff. And you also have this troll side of you, because it's like, no one ever, it's not a lazy way of tackling. It's just, you don't know you're in the situation until you're in the situation. Like, if it's Delanie and I were kind of standing up, walking through it. It's like, if it's 3rd and 7 and I drop to the 6, he catches it at 4, his back's to me. Yeah, long stride, short stride, shoot. But the minute he makes a move, if he gets outside of my body and I'm trying to keep him from getting to the first down marker, I'm not thinking, okay, shit, he beat me a little bit, let me go to the hip drop tackle. You're just thinking, as a defender, I'm trying to get him to the grass.
You're just reacting however you can. It's the same thing with blocking, bro. When I line up and try to block a guy like Julius Peppers, I know that there's going to be plays where I'm going to toe the line of illegal because I have to try to get the job done. When I'm running, okay, Delanie, you get a wide 9 out there rushing, and the coach says stay inside out. The next thing you know, you're 2 inside out, so you got to run this guy by. You got to put your hand on his hip, maybe give him a little wrench at the top of the rush. Yep. This isn't illegal, but it's gray area stuff. We've found out, or at least I've formed the opinion of, the hip drop tackle has no place in our game. Now, there's certain things that Chris, my brother, and I disagree on Greenlight about when a block is over, when a guy should take his hand off the hip. And that's the stuff that's always going to be argued about across party lines here. And there's things that Delanie and I are going to agree on, and there's things that Will and I are going to vehemently disagree on. But that's the beauty of this game. We're passionate. We love the game of football. And hopefully this is another step towards making our game better.
I think it's a step in the wrong direction.
No, I think it's a step to making the game better. Just like you said, you want to see the star players on the field. You want to see the star players on the field. I don't come to see the 3rd string tight end play. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's what the NFL wants. They want their starters on the field. And if we got to protect the starters, obviously this is something that they feel is hurting a lot of key players. And we've been seeing it over the past years.
It's an offensive league. Truly, like literally every rule goes in favor of the offensive.
Some people to swallow, Will. It's an offensive league.
It is.
There's some sports out there that are jealous that it's a football world we live in.
Yeah.
But that's just the cold, hard truths and the realities. People like to watch points put up on the board. You don't go to the strip club to get chicken tenders, Will. Okay, okay. You want points on the board.
People love seeing people separate the ball from the ball carrier. Those hits are gone. You barely land on a quarterback the wrong way. There's such a gray area there. That's a bad situation. Well, that's part of that's like it's like part of learn to tackle better. Oh, don't have a lazy way of trying to get after the quarterback.
That's not a learn to tackle better situation. That's, maybe we're valuing the safety too much. I mean, I think some of these guys can get pancaked on the ground a little bit and have the weight drop on them without it being a brain shot, an ACL shot, or that tib-fib hip drop, So as a fan of rushers, Chris Long's my brother, bro. Ton of sacks in the NFL. Howie Long raised me. That's my dad. I love getting after the quarterback as much as anybody, and I love the violent hits. I love seeing that kind of stuff. But there's some hits that are violent that end in injury more often than not, and the injuries take a long time to come back from. You're robbing not only your team from the performance, fans from the entertainment value, but these players from potentially taking care of their families.
Well, flip side, a guy getting cut from the team because he couldn't get a guy out of the grass because he's got to think, let me ride this guy a few more yards. I just gave up a massive play.
Buddy.
Hey, we need to come after next, and it's fucking pancakes. Then, if we're talking about body weight, we're trying to not make the game as physical. Anytime you see a pancake from an offensive guy and their body lands on top of them, should we not be thinking about the safety defender at that point?
Definitely not.
You know what? You're right, and that's why I think that this offense. That's like if an offensive lineman gets flat backed. If I get bull rushed by Aaron Donald and I get planted on the ground, I don't think that he deserves to be penalized. I deserve to go take more reps in the weight room.
Yeah.
I deserve to go take more reps after practice in one-on-ones to get my hand placement better, to put myself in a position to where I don't end up in that situation. And as far as the rushers landing on the quarterbacks, I mean, get the ball out, quarterback. Get the ball out. You watch all these rushers that get pissed off playing against guys like Tom Brady. They're like, just stop throwing it so damn fast. Stop getting the ball out. So that's how you prevent stuff like that.
I just think that this rule is going to decide a big game at some point this year.
It will. Definitely. It will.
And do we know the data behind these hip drop tackles? Like, yeah, we've seen some injuries happen recently over the last few years. Obviously, we're kind of like zoomed in and spotlighting this hip drop tackle now that it's been coined. And what about the guys that we don't see get injured? Like, do we actually know the injury rate, or are we just like, oh, whatever we can to keep a star player on the field?
I think it's enough stars been injured for them to feel like this needs to be changed. To be honest,
it's the type of injury, Delanie, right?
I mean, a broken ankle.
Yeah, it's not just like I got a low ankle. I got to tape this thing up this week. It's like I have to go get MRIs and X-rays.
Yeah, broken.
Trust me, I hate that.
Dislocated.
That play basically ended your career. I hate it. But to fight for my defensive guys out there, like everyone acts like this is some premeditated instinctual thing, like in the moment, and it's not. It's like, well, fuck. How in the hell we have to be so specific in how we tackle now? And there are some gray areas where you don't even know what you're doing. So you go to the sideline and coach is just like, look, man, I don't know what to tell you.
I've seen that.
Yeah, like Vrabe. Yeah, Vrabe's always pro the rule. Like, hey, that's just the rule now. That sucks. That guys will get hit in the sternum and it'll be called for like an upper.
I know,
because it's in the moment. It's so fast and you can't review it. And that's the thing. Like we've taken we're not able to go back and review. Like, hey, was this even a
legal hit? Yeah.
I just think it's bullshit. I think it's a sad loss for the defender. It's a sad loss for the defender.
I think it's an important reaction, the distinction between the coaches that are going to complain about this and use it as a crutch and the coaches that find a way to improve their tackling. You may see some units come out there with some really elite tackling tool belts, as it were, Compton. Guys who are
that's false. That's false. You're gonna what happens here, Kyle. Guys are gonna be going to practice now doing some extra stupid ass drill that we're all like, God,
there's definitely gonna be some extra drills.
We're doing this because coaches just want to cover their ass and say that they're teaching this. We know that's how it's gonna be. It's a cover your ass league, man. That's what
there's always
become.
That week. There's always that week, whether it's I think it's the spring, where all the positions get to practice all the different tackling circuits. Yep. It's like the big guys go to the crash pad, and we're going to work on cutting corners, and it's the most fun 10 minutes you'll ever do in the NFL. I think you're in mesh shorts and you're practicing tackling. You're 350 pounds and you're tackling dummies.
Because in your brain, you're not going to have to ever really be in that situation. You're just having fun with a new drill. It's like PE class for you. For us, we're thinking like,
nobody was more prepared for an interception than your boy. Okay.
How many tackles you got?
I got a couple. I filled up like half a hand, I think.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like 3.
You probably had a hip drop in there.
Oh, I fucked up some guy on the Cowboys one time. I got to find it on film, but there was an I was a rookie, so I was just like fearless. After my rookie year, I just played safety on all the interceptions. I ran straight to the end zone. And I directed traffic. But my rookie year, bro, I was out there just tackling motherfuckers, and there was one in the Cowboys game I definitely got to find. It was violent, bro. You would have appreciated it.
Yeah, I'm sure I would have. I didn't take you for the pro. This makes the game better. I really didn't. I opened up the X this morning. I saw your nonsense being spewed. You're already battling the trolls back, trolling them even harder. Like this motherfucker, man, who's a man known of violence, it seems like anyway, wants to make the game softer.
You know what? This is great discourse. I love the NFL, and I'm glad that we have something that we can passionately argue about. It's better than being bored with the game.
No question.
Yeah,
hey, so you're pro. This makes the game better.
I think it makes the game better. I just think it protects the players that need to be on the field. And I'm all about having the players that need to be on the field and play. You know me. When the second string guy came in, third string, I'm like, who?
Yeah, but that's because you just practiced more during that year.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do I mean? You had all the off days. You had every vet off day imaginable. Maybe your bone would been a little bit more sturdier had you been practicing all off season.
Crazy. Why you think it was all jacked up? They was making me practice every day.
I'm not letting you have that.
We gotta go that route, the NBA route, where they give us days off. Like they start we all got vet days. Like if you're a dude, you've experienced vet days, and each team is different. But I think that if we continue to go in this direction, like people can't see it for what it is. We are moving in the direction of the National Basketball Association. We are going to have ridiculous contracts that we're going to be able to attain because the NFL has taken care of us with rule changes, and the techniques have changed to be able to allow for less. I want to see explosive plays. I want to see less destructive plays. I want to see things. I want to see the same roster every week. And that's just not something that happens in the NFL. We need to move towards that. And I think this is the league taking a step in that direction.
That was a big one.
I know Kyle's just getting softer by the day, bro. I want to see.
I just hope we all get richer.
Less destruction.
This needs more money.
No. You're right. You're right. You make very good points, and I could just be the old man mad that we're not part of this league.
Just yelling at the cloud.
Yeah, yelling at the cloud. But Delanie had a good point. Hey, go ahead and talk about your Olympics theory.
Oh yeah, I was saying, I'm and maybe in a few decades or so, NFL could become a flag football league. What you think?
Because the Olympics now have it have a sport. They have it as a sport.
It's like Mario Kart. There's 50, 100, and 150 cc. There's got to be levels to this shit. I mean, the NFL has to be the NFL. We have to be able to retain that brutal, classic game, which we're going to refine. It's going to be classy, but then we're going to have, the two-hand touch league. Then we're going to have the flag league. Then we're going to have the women's league. We're going to have the 18 and under Olympics. I'm all for it, Delanie. It's such a great game. And you look at games that have been like international sensations like soccer and basketball, and it's just easy to pick up and easy to play. If you reduce the amount of equipment, it is going to open the doors for more people, and that wealth gap is going to be
Kyle's a politician.
I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you.
And for context, everybody listening, both of these guys, Kyle and Delanie, that we're talking to in this instance, they both wear the shield still to some capacity, so they can't talk as openly as freely as they'd like to.
I'm a free range chicken, homie. I don't know about you, Delanie, but they can slap whatever logo on my chest, but I'm gonna be me.
Me too. They like me because I say what I say. That's why I keep it 100 with them. So
this is great.
Yeah, I like Kyle's take earlier. Like it's something that creates a good debate, a good argument, gets everybody passionate and fired up about something. Because somebody, I had already said a couple things, and a few people are like, "You're still gonna watch?" It's like, well, yeah, no shit, I'm gonna watch. It's my favorite sport. Like I will always watch it. And to Kyle's note on like, there's gonna be 18, there's gonna be all these different leagues. Like I can't wait to hopefully be consumed by all these leagues and placing terrible bets to where everybody can fade me in those leagues as well. If it becomes
our daughters could wear the shield one day. They could represent our great country on an international stage. Being able to play against other women, it would be really cool. It's like a pipe dream of mine. Like I was sitting there looking at my rookie minicamp binder this morning. I was going through some old shit, and my daughter was fascinated with the drawings, like the routes and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, we were looking at some flood concepts. She's gonna frustrate some people.
You teach her about hey, we got to start working on this hip drop. We got to get the technique out of it.
Yeah, we got to teach her athleticism so she can get her hips there, so she doesn't have to hip drop.
Yeah. My fight is with the guys who are in the great, who might not have the most ability, and they get beat every now and then on the step, and you just got to think, God damn it, this is for your next paycheck. Get him down to the ground. get him down to the ground. Because you're back, why didn't you run your feet? Like, that sounds nice.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're gonna say. Run your feet.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that sounds
Get
nice.
your feet there.
Yeah, as you get stiffed on by Derrick Henry.
See what happened is you reached.
Yeah, you reached.
Right, you get outside of your body. Like, that fucking happens in my world every now and then.
You reached.
Or they said, see, you went rogue here.
Yeah.
You see how your feet got a little wide? Like, I didn't know that they were getting wide, but goddamn.
He's running at me full speed.
Yeah.
What you want me to do?
All right, Kyle, I appreciate you for jumping on.
Thank you, guys. It's good to talk to you, Delanie. Will, fuck you. And JP, what up? And all the boys, Jack Mack, all the homies.
All right, brother, love you.
All right, my guy.
All right, peace.
Oh, he's great, man. I love Kyle. And he's choosing violence on X right now. He's going at everybody like, okay, tough guy, why don't you put your hand in the ground and get better at tackling?
Yeah.
For somebody who doesn't, he's not necessarily a tackle guy.
I mean, I understand what he's saying, though. You got to keep the game the way the game is, and we want to keep the starters in the game.
Yeah.
If the starters are not playing, it's usually not a good game.
Yeah.
We know that. You may have one or two backup players that may come in and just wow you and become the man after that, but
As you know, I'm so much more, and that's the guy I was, but it's like the next man up thing. Like, okay, yeah, he got hurt. Fucking the next guy come in.
Oh, of course.
Next man up. This game's going to continue no matter what happens.
Of course. Like, you look at the Dak incident when he got hip drop, broke his ankle. Who was the quarterback that came in after him and kind of balled out?
Remind us.
Cooper Rush. He came in. Remember, he came in. He had like 3 or 4 good games after Dak went out. Like, but nobody wanted to see Cooper Rush play. You get what I'm saying? And that's unfortunate.
Fans want to see Dak.
They want to see
ownership
Dak.
where their money's went. Want to
see Dak.
Yeah.
So this is an ownership rule change as well.
Yeah, I mean the competition committee, they said it was unanimous.
Yeah, it's like because they looking at it like, okay, we paying this guy $10 million a year, $15 million, whatever it is, and he missed that year because of a hip drop tackle that ultimately breaks his ankle or tear ligaments, and he's out for a whole year. They still gonna have to pay that guy whatever he's worth.
Right.
And he's
not only that, but they also want him on the field being like, yo, you it kind of fucks up his career. Like, even when he comes back from injury, we hope he's still going to be a beast.
Yeah, you better hope, because I came back, played 5 games, was a monster them 5 games. The 4 games, and then that 5th game in Denver, took another hit to the ankle, and it was a wrap. I couldn't get back on the field. It was just like, you hate to have those stories, but that's what happens.
Yeah. And the way, again, we were like joking about it, but the way this will be coached, it'll be like some of them bullshit. But ultimately, I can see, like, Vrabel, any head coach that I've had, just being like, this is part of the game now. Trust me, I'm with you guys. I don't disagree that this sucks, but no matter what, we got to accept it and figure out a fucking way to get him to the ground. So, and if we have a bad penalty, the first ones, until it gets crucial, it's going to be like, fuck, what do you want us to do?
Okay, so what's the penalty? What is the
15
penalty?
yards, yeah.
I'll say, what happens if you do it more than once? That same player, is it an ejection, or do you get ejected out the game? So it's like a face mask. So you get 15-yard.
It's just gonna be a 15-yard automatic first down type of thing.
But if you keep, I'm just saying, like, what
if you repeat the same?
Yeah, if you're a repeat fender, what is the penalty? Like, do you get kicked out of the game? Is it unsportsmanlike? What is it?
That would suck.
I mean, because that would change,
right? I mean, what if you got a superstar defensive player?
Yeah.
Are you throwing him out of the game?
You throwing him out of the game?
Yeah, I don't know. Are you able to look that up, Mitch? We got to.
That is actually that's a good argument right there, because now you gonna save the offensive player and take out the star defensive player. What's the difference?
Especially if nobody got hurt from the hit drop tap.
Especially if no one got hurt.
Like, what sucks is, okay, it'll be a penalty and it'll be thought of like, fuck, all right, well, we try to do this. But nobody's going to, this is something that you can consciously change.
I don't think so.
Until like you'll probably see it years from now. Not that it really gets changed, but to where it's like, hey, you're hurting us by trying to tackle this way.
Yeah.
At first, it'll kind of be seen like, hey, try something else out.
Something else.
But nobody's going to get like mad at you the same way you would of like, if you're repeating a holding call. Hey, get the fuck out of the game.
Or jumping off sides.
Yeah, the violation will result in a 15-yard penalty flagged in games, but Troy Vincent, the NFL's executive vice president of football ops, strongly implied last week that it is likely to be enforced similarly to the use of helmet rule, which typically leads to warning letters and fines in the week after the game rather than flags during the play.
Oh, wow. You get
dude's pockets are going to get hurt.
You're getting fined.
From doing something that's an unintentional, instinctive nature of get this guy out of the ground.
So as soon as you see that flag, you're getting a FedEx.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, that sucks.
Wait, so
that is what. But again, if you go to the other side, it's like that is what it is. It's going to become part of the game. Like it's going to be talked about the same way these hard hits that are up top. Hey, this dude's getting fined. All that sucks.
But it's got to go vice versa. Say we throw an interception. Offensive players do not tackle every week, every day. That is going to be a common issue for offensive players trying to tackle defensive players on interceptions. Watch, I guarantee it.
Hey, let's hope, because that'll be what I want to argue. Like, hey, where's the penalty? Hey, where's the penalty? I'm just trying to fight for the guys out there tackling. Like there ain't no. You wish it was perfect every time, but it's just not.
It's not.
Jeff Miller, the NFL executive vice president, said that there were 230 instances of tackling technique occurring during a game last season, with 15 players missing time as a result.
See, that's a lot.
What is that?
Yeah.
You're talking a 6% injury rate?
For star players?
Hang on. Is that what that says? Star players? What's being what are we talking? What are we considering as star players?
It just said 15 players, but as we can account, most of them were star players that went down.
Yes, we all love the hip drop, but what you may think are the drag from behind tackles where he falls and it's still a tackle. This is only that tackle where the player is lifting themselves in the air and then falling on the legs.
Pulling himself to him, like he pulling you and then dropping down. Like who? So are we going to hire, you know how these coaches be hiring this specialist to come in and teach us how to tackle?
Oh, somebody will.
Yeah.
Somebody will.
Karate specialist, taekwondo kind of guy. You know how they come in and
yeah. Oh, that's fucking hilarious. And then you're fighting with knives.
Yeah, you're like,
that's gonna help. Yeah. That's gonna help the hip drop tackle in some capacity.
Oh, that's crazy.
It's about to be a lot of missed tackles. I don't Darius Slay. It's about to be a lot of missed tackles. I don't think there will. I think it will continue just to happen. Like this to me wouldn't change any part of my game. And then if it just happens, it just happens.
Same.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wouldn't go into the game worrying about it. Like if you beat me and I tackle you from behind, it is what it is.
Because they're talking about the lift and then the legs coming up. Like more than likely, you're stronger than me, and I'm just unfortunately I end up getting lifted by trying to fucking bring you back down.
It's the point of when you grab him, you're trying to stop him from getting the extra yards. That's what it is. Because you kind of like, you know how like it's almost like tug of war. You kind of lean back and you pull.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And
you're trying to use any part of your like leverage and weight and like the self-awareness you have with your body. You're just like, this is what feels the absolute best to get this motherfucker down right now.
Because that's all we thinking about is like, you don't want to go back inside like, damn, bro, I got you.
Because again, the tackle we're referring to where you got that couple yard space and your back's to me, I don't know which way you're necessarily turning, but I know I'm going to lunge to try to get you down. And the minute it feels like you're going the opposite way, you're just outside of your body. So you just think, by any means necessary.
What we used to call the slingshot? It's like
a
slingshot.
Yeah.
You just kind of use their momentum.
And you're just pulling, and if your legs come up, then it's like,
you're
trying to do whatever you can.
Yeah, that's actually called like a cow tackle. Like it's like they use it in roping cows. Like you'll see it a lot where they get on the horns and then they jump, put in the air, and they drop back to get the cow down.
Yeah. You're talking about like on their head with like on the fucking horns or whatever, and they're just trying to rip that motherfucker down.
Yep.
It'll be interesting. I'm just curious because again, players are still going to get hurt. It's still going to happen. I'm ready to see when it decides the game, and people are going to lose their mind.
I feel like it's going to be a big problem the first go around. I think the referee is going to be just
because they call it, especially in preseason.
Yeah, they're going to be
they're
just
testing it out. They're going to overdo it.
They're going to overdo it, and the cats are going to be just like, what? Fans are going to be like, what is going on? Players going to be like, what's going on? Coach is going to be complaining about it because it's going to be just a thing. They're going to emphasize it. Like, we're going to do this in preseason so you guys understand that if we see it, we're throwing it.
Yeah. But I feel like there's something like that literally every year. Every preseason. They're trying to overcall and make a point about something. Everybody gets pissed off.
Every year.
This will be the new thing.
I mean, they need to start making a point about the rules on overtime because I feel like we emphasize so many rules, but we leave out the key factor rules because I feel like if the 49ers had an understanding of the rule, I don't know.
You're talking about with taking the ball?
Yeah.
Or
having
the ball second?
I mean, that's
the
their
ball
own fault.
second.
But a lot of the players came and said they didn't understand the rule.
I don't think anybody I don't think anybody understood the rule until they just showed us during the Super Bowl the graphic, and then in my brain I'm thinking, I guess we all knew this. Like, that's the rule. I had no clue.
I was like, wait, is that new? But that was new for that year, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Because I was always under the impression if you scored a touchdown, it's over.
No, they changed that. You got a chance to try to score a touchdown and kick a field goal. But if the clock ran out in that first quarter, we were playing a whole new game. So we would have played 4 quarters no matter what. You would have played 4 quarters if no one would have scored. You get what I'm saying?
Wait, what?
Look,
here's what I thought it was on the Super Bowl. I thought leading up to make sure guys had an opportunity, I thought if they had a field goal, the other team then gets an opportunity to score, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown wins the game. But I thought if you scored a touchdown in the opening drive, then the game was over.
Nope, because remember, that's what happened with the first year with the Kansas City, and people got pissed. Like, how is that the game over? Kansas City only scored a touchdown. It was like, well, if you score a touchdown, so if you kick a field goal, the other team they changed that rule because of that with the Chiefs. So that's why I said the Chiefs were so prepared for this rule because it happened because of them. So it was like, oh, if you score a touchdown, now the Chiefs has the opportunity to go down and score a touchdown. And then we're going to keep going until whoever win this game.
I think the Chiefs were going to go for 2.
If they scored a touchdown on their drive, they were going to
go for 2. Yeah.
Then that would end it.
That would end the game.
Yeah.
But this rule is only for overtime games in the playoffs.
In the playoffs only.
Okay, yeah.
Only,
all right,
yes,
all right,
only,
all right.
Yeah.
But in the regular season, it's the
one
if
touchdown.
you score first, it's over.
If you score a touchdown,
Got you.
That's why they were so confused. So, because you can tell San Francisco was thinking that the clock was going to run out and the game was over, but it wasn't.
The Super Bowl's not going to end in a tie.
No.
How do you?
No, because they kicked the field goal. They was up by 3 points. San Francisco was up by 3 points. So they thought the game was going to be over once the clock ran dead. That's why they was all kind of sitting there. And Patrick snapped the ball with like 2 seconds left, confusing them a little bit. And nobody covered the flat. And that's how they won the game.
Wait, so if that clock would have ran out, they would have ran another.
Yeah, they would have did another quarter.
Is that right?
Yeah, I swear to you, bruh. That's what I'm saying. These rules, we do so many rules and we don't even know the rules ourselves. That's what makes this game more complicated because they really don't explain it.
What Mitch was saying, that the head coach should be fully aware.
I mean, he came out and said he told the team, and then other players said he never told the team. He never told the team. But Brock came out and said he knew. Brock Purdy said he knew. He said
he's probably just covering his own ass for saying that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, at that point, you're not trying to be in the line of fire. It's like I could say some dumb shit and just be like, okay, yeah, I didn't know.
He felt like Juszczyk was mic'd up, and he was like, "Oh, so these are the rules," as they were portraying them on the big screen.
A lot of people were learning in real time. I feel like just like the fans were at home. I was like, oh damn.
So like clearly Shanahan did not tell them.
Clearly Shanahan didn't know.
I feel like he probably didn't know because like Andy Reid knew. They came out and said after the game, Andy Reid, they practiced that.
They were fired up that the Niners took the ball first.
I know. They couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe it. They was like, wait, they just took the ball. You see how he looked when he said he took the he was ready. Oh, we kicking that way. He was ready. It was over with. They knew. I was like, oh, damn, my dogs. Damn.
Yeah, I didn't know that it goes to another quarter.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. So these rules,
game's changing every year.
Every year
they're
gonna find something before they can find players. They like, okay, now our salary is going up. We got to find these guys even more now. Like, let's find ways to just take money from them.
Yeah,
and pretty much that's what's happening.
Yeah. Well, appreciate you coming on. We will. And again, this was a great interruption because the hip drop tackle rule just came out. But D, thank you for coming on. And by the way, people might be seeing Delanie throughout the course of the spring tour potentially.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. The mule.
Yeah, the mule. But all right, back to the episode. When you do a hip drop tackle, the defensive player in his mind, there's no part of him that's thinking, I'm doing something that to try and hurt this guy illegally. Because number one, every rule is centered around offense in football. Like, they get every fucking rule. When you're breaking down the tackle, it's not like there's everybody has this perfect idea of like, keep your feet tight, keep your feet hot, moving, long strides, short strides, shoot. All this dumb shit that you practice consistently all the time without taking into account that it's not a perfect game all the time. You're not in the perfect situation in football. To where when you're breaking down and going right, and one guy, the offensive player, gets a step on you and you get a little bit outside your body and you are now sideways on the offensive player. And the whole thing is, not only am I trying to get him to the ground, but I'm not trying to like ride him to where he gets 2 or 3 or 4 extra more yards. You're trying to stop him and bring him backwards as much as you can. So if you get to the side, your first instinct is to pull so he doesn't gain more yardage. That is the dumbest fucking rule, and I'm tired of the NFL becoming so soft with these rules. They think they're protecting, but they're not. You want to protect, get fucking grass and not turf on every field. Every premier soccer team that comes to the U.S. and plays somewhere, they get natural grass put into the field. And we don't take care of our guys like that. And they're gonna angle from the side of safety, but it's just another fucking offensive rule that they think is dangerous. Like, yeah, it's unfortunate, but that is football. That's the nature of the game.
You really do when you're like a little kid and you're playing football in the front yard, and the only way to get somebody bigger than you down is that. And when you're a little kid, you're not thinking like, oh, hip drop. It's like grab on, go down, and just try to get him down.
Like, imagine, I'll use Derek as the example, but imagine like as Derek Henry gets lateral on you, right? And he's got the stiff arm. When you're in practice, you're being taught, chop the stiff arm and then, obviously grab him, get him to the ground. But you're already sideways, so where you trap, and you're not going to just keep running with the offensive player. Like, that is fucking insane, man.
I might get back into the league.
I would have never made it. You talking about these cats having a step on your boy, and you just got to get him to the ground anyway. How? Like, you're within 5 yards of the goal line. I tell you, big win for offensive players. Big win for offensive players.
Oh yeah.
What are they doing with kickoffs now?
No more like surprise onside kick.
Well, it's the XFL kickoff now, where it's like, it's where everybody's within like 10 or 15 yards, and that you just have the returner deep, and the kicker, like, you kick it, and then you're not allowed to run until the guy like catches the ball. And then there's like, they're saying the new touchback is like you bring it out to the 35, but if the ball hits in play and then rolls into the end zone, you get the ball like the 15 or something. I think it's ridiculous. The 15 or 20. There's a whole lot more rules that go into the kickoff, more than just a touchback or not.
Can you type in new kickoff rule, Jack?
Yeah.
It's like everybody has to be in.
No, it is unfortunate. There are cats who are like bubble players that get their name because they flash on kickoff or punt at gunner. I don't think punts get mixed with, but they flash on like kickoff, right? Because they're like the first guy down, or it's truly just effort. You can tell they're just scrapping for that first NFL paycheck. And that's going to suck for guys like that. All right, here we go. It'll be decided on Monday, which is today. Okay. Of the 22 players on the field of play, 21 of them will be in the receiving team's territory. That number will break down like this for the kickoff team. All right, the kicker will be by himself. The kicker will be set up, will set up the ball at his own 35-yard line, and after kicking it, he won't be able to cross midfield until the ball is in play. The ball will be considered in play if the returner catches it, or if the ball hits the ground in the landing zone. I'm assuming that's before the goal line. Or if the ball gets to the end zone, like rolls to the end zone, like you're saying, Mitch. Coverage team will be lined up together. The other 10 players, excluding the kicker, will be lining up on the receiving team's 40-yard line. Each player has to have at least 1 foot on the 40 before the play can start. Also, the kicking team has to have 5 players on each side of the ball, so they won't be able to load up one side. As for the receiving team, their setup will be slightly different. Most of the receiving team will be at the 35-yard line, so these guys will be 5 yards apart. The receiving team has a 5-yard setup zone that runs from its own 30 to its 35. 7 players from the receiving team must have their foot on the 35-yard line. The receiving team can also have 2 more players who are in the setup zone, but who aren't touching the 35-yard line. Those players will be lined up outside of the hashes. The receiving team can have 2 returners. Go down. If you're someone who hopefully you can put this chart up. They said, here's a look at it if you're more of a visual learner. So it sounds like there'll be 10 kickoff guys lined up on the opponent's 40. And then the receiving team will be set up on the 35-yard line. So they'll be 5 yards apart. The receiving team will have a 5-yard setup zone. So you know how you drop back in the coverage, set up doubles, whatever it is. You only get 5 yards to do that. So you'll literally be setting up. They'll be 10 yards apart for when the play happens. Then you get 2 returners. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see how it looks. I'm sure they're going to run this stuff in preseason no matter what. Do we know if that rule's getting passed?
It's not officially passed yet. They vote, like you said.
They're voting today, like as we're talking about it.
No fun league.
No fun league, man. That hip drop is so bad. That is such a bad rule. And yeah.
You see Jerry Jones, his paper?
Yeah. Yeah, the script.
He had to be practicing his signature. Like it looked like when you just practice your autograph in class.
Yeah, just scribbling all over it. Yeah. That sucks, man. That sucks about the hip drop tackle. The hip drop tackle. In other news, JP, he's back with us. JP's back with Bussin' with the Boys. Made some good waves on, what was that, Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday.
Would you like to drop an official statement, JP? Would you like me to talk about it? I saw you battling back and forth with some guys.
I'd like you to go first.
Okay. So JP has a pure heart, and I think muddies his water at times when he sees some opportunities for content. This is a prime example. And I'm pumped that you went with it, because there's a part of me, I was like, once we started to get to, I'm up in the air and I'm like, have you tweeted it, posted? I'm thinking like, now is where he might think like, I don't know if we should go. I don't know if he wants to go this route.
At that point, I had to go that route.
Yeah, I know.
Or else I'm just
I put it in the group chat, hey, here's what we're going to do. But I texted JP, and I was like, here, I'll read the text to you guys.
It's at like 7:15 a.m.
Yeah, I'm flying to Chicago, and I'm just caffeined up.
Lucy.
Espresso Lucy in my brain, just ready to go. Here we go. Thursday. Yeah, we had a lot of texts. Just fast forward on this part, Mitch.
Well, as Will's looking for it, when he's like sending this whole thing, and I'm like already kind of feeling uneasy about it, and then I didn't respond for like 2 to 3 minutes, and he just hits back, it would be hilarious. And I'm like, oh God. That's when I knew. I'm like, I don't know if there's any turning back.
I said, are you in the shop today? I can't remember when you leave, because JP had a wedding. He's like, yeah, I'm there. I said, idea for you. Do a post today, quitting Bussin' with the Boys, and go into happy hour at Dave & Buster's. And JP goes, any ideas on how to make it funny or like non-ad like? Obviously, I'll try to brainstorm, but didn't know if you already have something in your head. And JP sent in, I already had a full caption. As very few of you know, today is my official last day with Bussin' with the Boys. Legit a bittersweet feeling because I'm sad to be done working with the guys who have become like family to me. But I'm also very excited for this next opportunity. I can't say what it is, but I'll have a video later this morning. And I was like, something like that. And then you just go to Dave & Buster's to make your video there. Excited to announce that I'll be at Dave & Buster's for their free happy hour, whatever the deal is, blah, blah, blah. Could be hilarious. JP, I gotcha. Oh, man. Let me see here. 2 options. Because I go, you're like, due to recent events, today is my official last day of Bussin'. I was like, you got 2 options. Make it seem like we had to part ways because ultimately you were the point man for the emails where people try to battle over the decision, or a new opportunity that you can't pass up where people go sentimental route. And I'm just thinking in my head, like, because after everything unfolded, what was that, Monday or Tuesday? Was that Monday?
Yeah, Monday.
When we missed the Bracket Busters and Dave went off on us on the Bracket Busters. Then we did the show and Dave called in and kind of gave it to us verbally. And then throughout that week, we're trying to like, how can we make this right with Dave and Buster's? Because that does suck that we didn't show up. But how can we accept what happened and fucking, how can we be creative in doing something to make it right? And the next day when we come into the shop, I remember thinking about I should at least go take a picture. I come in, JP's like, hey, you should go to Dave & Buster's. Jack comes in, he's like, hey, we should go make videos and content at Dave & Buster's. Everybody's kind of like on board that we need to go to Dave & Buster's if we're going to make this stuff right. All the boys are telling us. So we go out that day and we do all of our Dave & Buster's content. We end up getting messages from the high ups at Barstool like, hey, Dave & Buster's they're pumped about it. They think it's funny. Like this, thank God you guys did this. Like, way to basically GBOT, get back on track. And so I'm just continuing to figure out like how we can play this up, because you hear people talking about, you read some of the comments on YouTube from the video, like, taking bullets. Like I'm the only one taking bullets. Like nobody else is saying nothing. Like, oh, it seems like Will's just smiling. You can see what kind of guy he is. Like he's not taking it serious. All the guys in the back are laughing, thinking that this is a big fucking joke. Like, no, we were mentally in a blender, but sometimes you just gotta like, you got to be able to take it on the chin, not have a smile on your face, but ultimately like that nothing drastic of like, hey, we got to split up, because at the end of the day, you would have thought we were a March Madness podcast. Like we're some college basketball podcast. We had never shown up on the Barstool Bracket Busters. We'd always been told that, hey, this is going to be your team riding them into the end. Now, this is obviously, it was a much bigger sponsored event, a lot more dollars behind it. We've been seeing some of the unfoldings about whether it's Mincy with the combine or guys not showing up. Remember Titus got something for a big sponsored event. Like, so there are things that have fed in the day's mind of like, these motherfuckers people fucking up when we have highly sponsored stuff. We've had our hiccups recently with whether it's the DraftKings stuff or not reading an email for the day of the Super Bowl that played up in us getting reamed. So you see all this stuff and you're just thinking like, thank God the boys figured out how to like make this stuff right. Cause at the end of the day, it's a content game. It's a content business. Like it's all media. It's all entertainment. Like how can we take this reaming and spin it into making more content off of it without being like dickheads, without like, going the routes, being silent about it. Like, okay, we kind of just took that. We're not going to say anything else about it. We're just going to be quiet. It's like, how do you make content? How do you have creativity and like make content with all the boys? Which we did, and everybody was very pleased, to where I think Dave & Buster's might be coming back around and working more with the company, with Barstool, with Bussin', because of all that stuff. So we fast forward into going to Chicago, and I just have this idea for JP, because you see people like, why don't you have a fall guy? Like, why not a fall guy, but why don't you have somebody checking emails? Why don't this? Why don't that? Everybody kind of having an opinion on it. So it's like, how can we lean into it more by having JP or having somebody to make content? I knew Jack was going to Chicago. JP, he's seen as like a producer for all the stuff that we do. So I was like, how can we make it seem like JP's kind of a fall guy, but make it seem like there's quiet, private conversations that happen. We're all good, but there's some undertone of JP kind of just moving on, but saying everything's all good, busting for life, but also I'm excited for this. Basically, JP's kind of standing on business, or I'm not going to be talked to like this in a private conversation. We're saving face by making it seem like It's all good between us, but there's a question mark of what the fuck's going on. You played it perfectly. You crushed it. I know you took a lot of people being like, okay, they were legit sad. I'm getting a lot of texts. You show me JP still getting a fuckload of messages. He has over 160, not to flex, but to also flex that his text message chain has been run up over this whole fiasco. Dave comes in and sits down. He's like, hey, what the fuck happened? Did your guy quit? Did you fire? Like, what happened with this? What happened with this producer that's going on? And Big Cat's like, yeah, apparently it's a bit or something. And I was like, yeah, I mean, we're making more content off it. Nothing happened. Everything's all good. He's doing a callback to now we're at Dave and Buster's, because the whole play of Dave and Buster's was, hey, go to happy hour on March 21st. Whether you're working, if you're working that day, skip work or work from Dave and Buster's. PFT had a tweet that sparked my inspiration from me. He's like, what a great day to quit your job and go to Dave and Buster's. And so all of it kind of festered in, let's do another callback to DMB on March 21st with all the boys. I saw your video, like one eats, we all eat. All the boys are there at Dave and Buster's taking photos. I thought it was played beautifully.
I know. I feel like because I have a smaller following that I do, like, you know, I try to reply to people like throughout the weeks, whatever, like build these little relationships with people. So then when that happens, I truly feel like I'm connected with a decent amount of my followers, and they're sending me the nicest messages in the DMs. And I'm like, oh my God, like.
Then you got people who are in the gray, who know you, who probably don't communicate with you all the time. That's kind of given like
right.
Damn, I thought you were really gone. Like, I kind of can't trust you, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And I made me feel so bad. I mean, it worked. And shout out to all the new followers out there.
I was going to say you got.
But man, yeah, I did. I just want the people to know that I felt bad misleading the people.
I did send JP a text. I said, your good heart is blinding you from the bigger picture,
yeah.
Which I thought it was good. I thought it was good content. I thought it was great content to kind of continue to play into.
Caleb texted me, Presley, and said, brother, exclamation point. I was like, what's up? He's like, you're leaving the bus. And I explained it to him. He said, classic Will with the death jokes. I was like, oh, I could just talk about the Theo Vaughn.
Yeah, the Theo Vaughn stuff, which, by the way, I feel like hasn't gotten fully until we get Theo on the bus, or there's finally a conversation to be had about how much of just a setup joke that was. That in his following things, it's like, oh, Will's just a bad person who fakes a death, yada yada yada. But yeah, I thought it was great. I went in when I got to the sports book. There were so many people like Fasoli. He's like, dog, you fucking had me. He's like, I was so hurt. I was like,
text me ASAP.
Yeah. He's like, I was so hurt to see that. Like, other people like, hey, is that real? Big Cat was even like, hey, so what happened to your guy? But we were on camera, so I thought he was kind of just
right.
He kind of understood the bit.
Fight sent me a message. He was like, bro, it was honestly so nice. He was like, man, like, loved getting to chop it up with you. Like, let's make sure just because you're gone, like, that it's not the last time we hang out. Like, all the best. I'm like, God, Vice is such a real one.
Oh, I'm sorry to make you like the fucking goat that comes up for the T-Rex in Jurassic Park, just sitting there. Because another thing that sucks is if something ever does happen, it's like you almost kind of blew your wad on the.
Garrett, I said, now I gotta wait at least 6 months to quit.
Yeah. Hey, there goes my plan. I gotta hold this one out a little bit more. I thought the content was good from it. Now we had a good little get right, good little make right.
We were owning
the into all the
bit.
Do what?
We were owning the internet.
Yeah, we made it into something. I was telling MB and Jack Mack, I know he's in with like the DraftKings stuff or Dave and Buster's. I'm like, hey, rumor has it, like, you guys can now add in an extra responsibility, making sure the Bussin guys know their information, because I know we make you guys work overtime a little bit more now. And they kind of like laugh, because they're like, if there's an example of handling it, you guys would be the example for other brands handling it that way. Which, hey, shout out the boys not to flex and put everybody else in a tough spot, but that's how we do it with Bussin with the boys. But I appreciate you doing that. I know it kind of hurt your soul a little bit. I was following along the weekend when I would get in the reply. When I'd see your replies, I was like, man, he's really trying to reply and make sure, hey, I will earn your trust back, everybody. Another way to earn your trust back, Verizon. I'm always relying on my phone to keep up with the latest news, football, sports, JP's replies, and everything in between. Whether you're streaming games, searching for live scores across the NFL, or keeping up with major trades, I can always trust my phone to get me there. There's nothing worse than your phone glitching out during a game, winning drive, or finding out who's taken with the first overall pick in the draft. That's why you can rely on Verizon's fast, reliable network that lets you stream games and keep up with what's happening in real time. Verizon has you covered on the go and at home. Plus, when you bundle your mobile and home internet plans with them, you can save tons of money. Just visit verizon.com/barstool to learn more. Anything else from the last week, fellas? And Dave and I are solid. Who, like, people who might question that Dave hates us or they say, like, the boys are solid. The boys are solid. As long as we make content off bad content, like, you can rest assured the boys will be solid. Oh, great. Fucking great by G. We are going to, our spring tour kicks off this week. TBD on how we're going to release everything because some of our visits are spaced out a little bit. Last year, to give you guys some perspective and context, the years past, we've gone to a new school every week and released the content the following week within like a 3 or 4 week span. This year, we're going to Florida State this week. Tallahassee, we leave. You're listening on Tuesday. We leave today. We're going to be shooting content today and tomorrow with the head coach and some of the players, with coaches and players. We go to Nebraska, like the first weekend of April. So not bang, bang, not like right after Florida State. And then we're doing Oregon third week. Yeah, third week of April, and Alabama the fourth week of April. So stay tuned on how we're going to kind of drop that content because we would like to have it bang. We would like to have it back to back to back. So you might not be getting Florida State next week exactly. But also right now we do have some sad and good news. Some sad news is I believe we might be pulling the plug. What's up, G?
So JP really quit.
Yeah. The tough news is I think we're going to be pulling the plug on this first live show. The boy Taylor, as you see, he's not with us right now. He got a massive opportunity and he is out of the office for the next month. The boy is, we can't really say what it is, but he's on site working on something and he might be in the next TV star. That's what we'll give you. Taylor's working on a TV series right now. He might be the next TV star. That's all we can give you. But Taylor is out for the next month. So the boy, he loves to do the live shows. I know we got to provide 3 of them. We will be doing the one at Nebraska because let's just call a spade a spade. We got Coach Rule locked in for Nebraska. You kind of don't need the boy at a spot like Nebraska. Now we'll be moving to one where we're going to look to do, because there's a couple issues. There's honestly a couple things that we kind of hurt ourselves on. We want to expand in the new college football worlds, like with new college football fan bases. So we're going to places like Florida State and Oregon. However, when you go into these corners of the country where our fan base isn't that big, we're also doing, we also like to do live shows when we're on our spring tour. However, if we want to make good content for those fan bases in the digital world, you want to go to the Oregons and Florida States. But if you're trying to do a spring tour around live shows, like when comedians tour, you go into your niche places before you expand and build out. Our dumbasses, we be like, oh, let's do a live show here, let's do a live show there. We sell like 4 tickets to some of these spots because nobody has really any idea, or they might, but they're not close enough tied in to where, hey, we want to get to a show, or we're going to book a flight that fly to, where's Oregon? Eugene? Yeah, Eugene. We're out in Tallahassee. Now we sold a little bit more than 4 tickets to Tallahassee, but not a huge amount. For those people who are going, who had bought tickets to the Tallahassee live show, I know we're going to like do a make right. Either way, we're going to be at Potbelly's hanging out, mingling, having drinks, having a good time at Potbelly, just to have that engagement, that personal reaction. So that personal interaction. So if you are going to Tallahassee, if you had bought tickets, like we're still going to be there. We're just not going to be running this live show because Taylor, he can't be a part of it because the boy had to take a last minute. And it's a big opportunity for him. I'm fired up for him. He's going to do really good at it. He's going to knock it out of the park. It was kind of like one of those things. He was super excited about doing it. He didn't want to bail on the boys. And we were kind of just like, dog, you can't pass up this opportunity. He needs to go do this thing. So we'll be doing the spring tour at Florida State in Oregon. We won't be doing live shows there because the boy won't be with us, but we're going to be looking at doing it here in Nashville. So be on the lookout for those details, whether it's at, the Barstool, whether it's at the Barstool bars, Zanies, Ryman, any of these spots, be on the lookout. We're going to be doing one in our own backyard because we realize like we're idiots if we're just going to try to do live shows in all these different parts of the country without like obviously sprinkling where our base is the best. And that is in our own backyard with Nashville, with Lincoln, Nebraska. So we'll be doing shows there. Just follow us at Bussin WTB. Gee, anything I'm missing with that?
We can cut this if I'm not sure, but those people that bought tickets will get refunded.
Okay, so we know that's gonna. Okay, perfect.
Still coming out. Still not 100%. I don't know this 100%, but it feels like that should be the right thing to do.
Absolutely. And you guys get me hopped up enough. Hand me a mic.
That's why I was like, I don't want that to be misleading.
Yeah. Yes, you will be getting reimbursed. You will be getting your money back.
Yeah.
You get me hopped up enough.
Come have a beer.
And hand me a mic. You never know what can happen. We'll still be hanging out. I'll be taking photos. We'll be
doing 20 minutes.
It'll be turned into a big time meet and greet, party together, all that fun stuff. We'll be doing that. We just won't be having the theatrics of a live show, and you will be getting refunded your money. So just FYI, very good point, G. Do not want to have muddy water when explaining that. You will be getting refunded for this if you bought tickets, for the 7 people who bought tickets. I think it was like 25, 30. Was it 40? Did it jump up to 40? That'll be a nice party. It'll be a fun party.
Yeah, it was like 8 people. But Will's doing 20 minutes of stand-ups. Come out.
Yeah.
Pop bellies.
Yeah. JP's like, oh man, that sucks that we're gonna pull out. We'll just do stand-up like I'm just some natural. Like I've done my rounds. I have a set. We'll just do 20 minutes of stand-up.
I believe in you, bro.
It's not that I don't believe in myself. You just know me. I get insanely, like right now, if I even start to think about it, the nerves are sky high because I want to do well. Like I want to have something for the people versus just sweating my ass off and just bombing. Speaking of bomb, we have Brian Baumgartner on for the interview. I know we've talked a lot about everything else. Our interview is Brian Baumgartner from The Office. He's most well known for The Office. He was a fun conversation. That'll be a good time for those who are tuned in right now watching. What else? Has anything, whole free agency, Snead?
Yeah.
Welcome.
The Titans getting, what's his first name? Legarius Snead. He's a dog. You think everybody okay. Yeah. Cause he put.
He's a former chief.
Yeah,
so
he's
like,
a chief. Yeah,
I'm bummed out, but
that's good. Hey, Tennessee's been having a quiet little.
They've been doing
good off season. They've been having a quiet little.
The whole AFC South has been really just Texans and Titans, but
yeah, Texans will be good. But Snead is a big pickup. Everybody knows the clip too. I don't think we can use it because of NFL copyright, but when Snead was just dogging Hill at the line of scrimmage, bodied him. No, but that's a big pickup. I know Jeff Simmons, he's happy. I know he had a tweet saying like, help me help you. That's what you need. You need them coverage sacks. Just under pressure. Picks. Any other movement in the NFL? I feel like I've been in a hole just, again, watching the tournament from 11 a.m. to midnight. So I hadn't really saw a whole lot of NFL free agency news. Do we want to hit our shout out, no free shout out? Have some fun, shout out, no free shout out? Well, and guys, bear with us. Like, we have a 50-minute interview, 50-minute interview with Brian. We're obviously running this intro right now. The boys, we got ads. I know you guys fucking hate the ads all the time, but we love them. We love the ads. We especially love Duke Cannon because, as always, the boys have a special code for you just for the tier ones. Use code tier1, TIER1, the number 1, TIER number 1 on DukeCannon.com for 15% off your first order. Use code tier1 again on DukeCannon.com for 15% off your first order. I was actually at HQ, forgot to put deodorant on that morning for whatever reason. I was trying to make breakfast with Wit. Forgot to put deodorant on, but was able to get Duke Cannon to your boy. I got a whole fucking toolbox of Duke Cannon delivered right to me. But again, tier 1 for 50% off your first order. Our shout out, no free shout out, our very first one will come to us from the one, the only Mitch Carsley.
My shout out this week, it goes to that first breeze you could get after working out.
So if you working out and like inside, you get that good sweat going, and then you it's like time to leave. So you go outside, hit your car, immediately you just get that cool breeze, and like you're a little bit sweaty, so it like makes you cool off even more. But that as soon as you get outside, you that breeze hits you, like, yeah, I just got that work in.
Yes, sir.
Shout out that breeze.
Shout out that breeze. Shout out that cool breeze.
Fire.
And if you got that Duchanan deodorant on, that breeze hits it hits even harder with that AC that they already have under there. Go ahead, Jack.
One of these days, my shout out's gonna be when Mitch has a really good shout out because it fires me up. I'm not saying he's like missing a bunch, but when he hits one, I feel like the whole state of the bus is just kind of elevates.
It's like, thank God we're gonna have an okay week.
Right. But that is not my shout out this week. Maybe next week. I'm not actively living my shout out right now, but my shout out goes to the first day you get back to 100% after being sick. I thought about this shout out going out to Vegas, and then we even talked about it. We did obviously off the bus, but I got very sick in Vegas. So I don't know if I had to actively live through this experience to really own this shout out, but I think tomorrow when we head to Florida State, I feel like I'm going to be possibly on the first day that I'm at 100% again. So I'm really hoping that's the case, but there is a very special moment when you finally get back to 100% because you all live through the same moment when you're sick where you're like, God, I had it so good. I had it so good at one point. I took everything for granted. I'll never take it for granted again. Just make me be healthy and I'll be happy. Like there's nothing that could go wrong if I just could be healthy again. So that first day being 100% healthy again after being sick, to me is, yeah, you can't beat that. So I'm praying it's tomorrow.
It reminds me of that quote. I think it goes something like, oh shit. A healthy man wants everything. A sick man wants one thing.
That's
to be healthy.
That's it.
Yes,
Amen.
sir. Put that on a quote graphic, Coop. JP, you got one?
Yeah, I got one. This morning, McDonald's brought back their breakfast bagels, and we were kindly invited to a local McDonald's in Nashville to enjoy. Me and 4 others.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because we had been tweeting it out like for a while, and then
You're a content guy now.
The McDonald's Nashville guy, he like tagged us all last week in like their little marquee sign saying March 25th, bagels are back. So then we got in like a little group chat on Twitter, and they were like, hey, come out, like pick a location, come out, we'll hook y'all up with some of the sandwiches.
Y'all brought champagne?
Tommy Guns, I think his name is, right?
The Gun Show.
Yeah.
Yo, shout out the boy.
Wait, so did they bring it back just for you guys for like a day, or is it back?
It's back.
Indefinitely?
Back.
Oh, they brought it back just for them.
No,
they brought it back because JP called for it.
Oh, yeah.
Power of the internet.
And just to let the people know, I did ask him about the snack wrap, and it is in the works to come back.
Do we know when? Do we have any?
We don't know when. Apparently, the holdup is McDonald's wants perfection, and they don't use some of the same ingredients that they were using back then in like the ranch or something. They were like, it would have to be the ranch dipping sauce, but that's not what it was like when the snack wrap was hitting. So they're like, they're working through it.
I love that.
His name's Clark. Shout out Clark Gray.
Shout out Clark. Hey, that's hilarious.
And the smoke show.
Morning?
That's this morning.
I love that, man. Our insider on McDonald's.
Yeah.
Snack wrap is in the works. You want a tip on how to do ranch, go to Home Team Pizza. That might be my shout out. Have I shout out Home Team Pizza?
I think so.
Shout out Home Team Pizza again. Dude, yeah, basically. Them or Midnight Oil. We get a Midnight Oil. Five Guys. We were a massive Five Guys. Like, again, I'm going to start shouting out all these local pizza spots. But yeah, Home Team is local. Oh, my fault. 5 points. 5 points. I'm convinced if you got 5 in your name, you're a successful franchise. But yeah, hey, Home Team, that's a true local spot. I'm talking they share a space with like I think another pizza business. But they share a space where you got to walk up. There's no storefront. I actually think that they're in the works of getting one. So they're moving up because they're expanding and getting bigger. No, a part of me wants to like tell him like, hey, if you need any investors, hit your boy up. I'll be an ambassador. I already am. He's like, hey, you mind if we use your stuff for our Instagram? I was like, dog, dude, you guys are the fucking best. Their Buckeyes are incredible. I always get a little 4-pack every Friday. Their little breadstick bites, insane garlic butter. Oh fuck, they are the real deal. Spicy Italian with the breadstick bites, and get you a 4-piece of Buckeyes. That is your Friday night. My barber, they're now doing pizza Thursdays because of the inspo. He's like, it's fired us up to do more of the, not get outside of the annual tradition stuff of like holidays, but get a weekly one going. Pizza Fridays, boys. Home team. Shout out the boys at Home Team once again. I'll also shout out, I don't know, what's another shout out I can throw out there? Your wife getting you right before a long trip. Oh, not to put my wife on the spot, but we love you, sweetheart. Oh, I love you, sweetheart. Oh man,
Florida State tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll have to make sure my trips are now on the calendar. Hey, sweetheart, I'm going here tomorrow. Be gone for 48 hours.
Well, that's Murfreesboro.
Yeah. Oh fuck. G, you got one? Don't have one? Telling you, that brain will fail you. Yeah, that CTESPN. Somebody's running his account, right? AB's account.
Who knows? I could see it being him.
I think even under his name, it says like admin. He's got like an admin tag. Something that goes up under it. I mean, there's no way it's him running it. There's no way. Because it's a funny Twitter follow right now. I'll have to look. I'll have to find it on my phone.
He only follows 2 people though on Twitter, and it's his CT ESPN network and Dick Bender.
Assistant men's basketball coach, Clemson University. Oh, Clemson's having a good tournament, JP.
Really random to throw that in there.
I know. I saw Clemson, and it just made me.
Actually, you know what? For any Clemson fan that's listening, all you guys wanted your coach fired all year. Going into the tournament, you said, oh, no, we want to lose in the first round so that we can finally fire Brad Brownell. Now, next thing you know, they're in the Sweet 16, and everybody's, I love this team, love this, I'll die for this squad. Shout out Coach Brownell.
Just on their knees for him.
On their knees. Like, yeah, this is not how this works. And that's what they're doing with Dabo. So, Dabo, watch out, man. Your head's on the stick right now.
Your head will be on a stick come December. I can't wait for football season, man. Hey, yeah, G in the bag.
Go ahead, shout them out.
Shout out Rand Carthon
and the Titans for getting
Tennessee Titans. We got Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
What? I mean, who do you draft now?
Ridley, Sneedy. You know who to draft? Go ahead, tell him, Jack.
What? No, we went alt, dude.
Left tackle?
Yeah, beast, Notre Dame. But who knows if we'll get him?
Brock Bowers.
Joe Alt. That's who I'd like. Joe Alt. If we get Joe Alt at 7, I think is that what we have 7? We get Joe Alt at 7. He could potentially be like, I'm not saying the next Taylor Lewan, but the next kind of player that could play in a franchise for a decade, I think.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, you want your first round cats to be a second contract type guy.
Definitely. Did you? That ain't good.
Or is it?
I think it's great.
Taylor's first year, he got after it.
True. First 3. Really, when he stopped going out is when I think the first ACL kind of busted him up. So
I think it was Talon was the saving grace. He found Talon, and then he left all the boys behind. They kind of didn't know. You know that the boys were kind of talking like, this guy fucking gets a girlfriend, just bails on us. What happened to bros over hoes?
Mitch airing it out on.
Yeah, damn, Mitch. How you gonna?
I'm not saying nothing.
Come on, man.
You can't lean back and do that.
TMZ Carsley. Gal, you trying to bring him down?
Oh, good for him.
Say it into the mic then.
Shout out Skronsky. He was hanging out with Megan Maroney.
Airing it out.
Damn, you don't know what his personal life's like, man.
He's got a wife and kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of people there. Maybe they were just all mutual friends.
Did you see Dion, what he was saying about Shadur and Travis Hunter?
Yeah, saying that they're
Making
going to
all the
go.
headlines. He was like, he cited Eli.
He said that it's going to be an Eli situation.
For those that don't, the Eli, because I know for me, it took me a second. Eli just basically said, I don't want to go to what?
Was it the Chargers? Yeah, Chargers.
Yeah, and they
Chargers
still
were drafting him. Eli said no, forced their hand, had the leverage, and that's how he didn't end up on the Chargers. Ended up getting drafted by the Giants. Basically said like, no, he's not. What was?
No, they took him, and then they ended up trading.
But was saying
they traded Eli and got Phillip Rivers.
Got you. Yeah, apparently Dion's saying that it's going to be a similar situation with Shadur and Travis.
Nah, he didn't really specify which one.
He said they're going to both go in the top 4.
Right.
He goes, one of them he knows isn't going to go outside of 4. I would almost think that might be Travis. And then Shadur, I think that's where the whole Eli situation comes in, because he's got 4 cities, 4 teams that he's kind of looking at. Listen, I'm going to have my popcorn ready to see this thing unfold, because it's like you can look at it as like, oh, what a weird way to go about it. Like, that's stupid, that's gay. But also, like, if anybody's going to have the power to pull something like that off, Dion kind of had a similar situation. He just knew he wasn't going to get drafted low, so he would go in the teams that were later in the draft at the combine that would try to interview him, and he'd just say like, y'all aren't going to be high enough to get me. Y'all aren't going to be able to pick me up.
This was his direct quote.
So gangster. Yeah. All this is subjective because I know where I kind of want him to go. And let's not forget Shiloh, but I know where I want them to go. There's certain cities where it ain't going to happen. It's going to be an Eli Manning. It's going to be an Eli Manning situation. He said that on $1 million worth of game. That fires me up. I'm excited to see how that goes down. I'm excited to see what kind of year Colorado has after last year. Like, they started off hot. Seemed like they were immortals. Yeah. I mean, they essentially, in my opinion, believe that like Nebraska got a little deer in headlights, like just kind of got fascinated by all the headlines and then beating the shit out of TCU. Then they became mortals after about 4 weeks, fairly quickly after Oregon said, nah, we ain't wearing a condom on this one. But I'm excited to see how the Colorado team kind of goes about it this year, what their record's going to end up being. Anything else, boys? You got anything else to touch on? Twisted question. Cannot wait. Twisted Tea is a refreshing hard iced tea made with real brewed tea and 5% alcohol, full of flavor and very refreshing. Twisted Tea goes down smooth. There's no carbonation, which makes it easier to drink all day long. Twisted Tea feels fun and celebrates extreme fandom on game day. It is the perfect alcohol beverage for game day, whether tailgating in the parking lot, watching at a bar, or watching with friends at home. Twisted Tea is there to turn up your game day. Keep it twisted with the boys and grab a refreshing Twisted Tea today. Mitch, twisted question.
This one comes from Max Mariquin on Instagram. I feel like we could maybe change this around because I feel like they're kind of, I don't know. We'll see. Would you rather always have your flight delayed or always have a middle seat? I think what we could switch that is, would you rather...
I'm out. Read it again. Would you rather always have your flight delayed or always have a middle seat?
Yes. No, I know. And that's why I'm fucking saying we should change it around.
All right, change it up.
I don't know.
Would you rather...
Both losses, I guess, but...
Like, would you rather always like have a really long security line or have a middle seat?
That seems definitely more interesting. That's right. Yeah. I would just never. If it's a delayed flight, I'd rather be home, even if it's being in a middle seat. And that's coming from a guy whose like knees are touching the seat too in front of them every time. So
long security line. In my brain, I'm assuming we still make the flight, but the anxiety is just sky high because you just don't. You're like, oh God, do I ask these people in front of me? Okay, I'm gonna ask them. Never mind, I bitched out. I'm not gonna ask them. Charlotte, remind me. Oh yeah. You're talking when it was me and Taylor, right?
All of us.
Was it all of us?
You remember?
Wait, was this the one? Was Jack on there first?
I fucked this one up.
Oh
God! I was the only one who was on the flight at one point because I had TSA pre-check. and then y'all got caught in a crazy line, and then I made it just barely before, and then they literally held the flight so y'all could make it on.
Now
we got there with
That was a testy time.
hey, was that the gear one too?
Yeah.
Where you guys got with the gear and Jack just went full TSA? Because you've changed it up now. Like you understand, you remember that situation.
But we got there with like
Yeah, and you've
half hour.
you've 180. I think when we were, where were we recently? To where like, no, you guys go. I'll sit here with the bags. Like, don't even.
Miami?
There's no need to sit here and wait for me. Yeah, Miami. You guys don't even need.
You gotta fuck up bad to really change your ways.
We got there with like 45 minutes to spare, but like the security line was very long.
Yeah.
So what would you rather?
And it wasn't even. It wasn't even
when we were running. Yeah.
It wasn't even the fact that, because it's like, yeah, everybody can't stand there and do the. It's like, okay, one person's gonna ultimately have to do this, but it's almost the not even thinking about, hey, I'm just fucking.
And look, I was in the wrong and I've changed, but I've been telling people for, I don't know how everyone on our team doesn't have TSA pre-check when we travel.
I'm literally in the process of
travel minimum once a month, all of us probably. And none of us have TSA pre-check. That to me is like, you've had enough time to where I can only take blame for so much moving forward.
No question, because what's all changed?
But I did, and I fucked up.
Is even all you guys being like, hey,
or
we need to make sure to have a mic. Make sure to have a mic.
Be a responsible traveler and get TSA pre-check if you travel over 6 times a year.
Fair, very fair.
Our employer should pay for it for sure.
They will.
If you are the one with it and you know you get through, I feel like that's always the case, guy. Then you see what I'm
Fair,
saying?
But
that's
also,
that's a fair thought.
If I also think if you're the production side of the job, that technically falls on you as well. And I do it though. I do it plenty.
That's
we all wear the same hats. It's
like a good conversation meeting to have to be like, hey, how can we find?
I will continue to help whenever I see fit.
I'm not our Bussin' with the Boys driver, but I drive the car everywhere we go.
I mean, so do I when you're not there.
Exactly, when I'm not there.
Jack, don't look at me when you're.
I'm just looking forward. I'm just saying we've been working in this situation long enough to where everyone should have TSA pre-check. Everyone.
Agreed. I think that's
even if we don't, I will always help put that bag on wherever, check it, because I have a little bit extra time. 100%. Yeah. I'm just saying it just helps. It helps your life tremendously.
No doubt. I agree that we should all have TSA pre-check.
Do we need our birth certificate? You have to bring like 2 forms of ID.
I actually have the links that I can send us. I can drop because I got the links. I got the links last Friday.
I went and didn't have the right paperwork.
Oh yeah, you had your appointment.
And I just was like,
you didn't ever follow up. Dude,
no,
that is ridiculous.
He said it's not meant to be.
Nope.
It is the best $85 you'll ever spend.
I agree with you there, because it's even got to the point. It even got like after a couple of those situations, it got to where it's like, hey, what time are you guys getting there? Okay, we need to stop. Depending if we're gonna ride with Will, if we're gonna ride with Will and Taylor, there's either a point where I'm like, okay, I'll be there and we can leave at this time, or you guys are like, all right, we're gonna get there, because JP tries to finesse the boarding time over the flight situation. Like, when does the flight leave? And he's always like, when do we start boarding? Because I'm always an hour before flight time. JP tries to get an hour before boarding time.
But you're always A1, so the boarding thing doesn't matter.
Exactly. We're all in different field. We're all in different situations. We're all in different situations.
We don't travel as one anymore. Something happened. Something changed.
No, this is a hell. This is.
We've all realized how to survive and advance in our own terms.
We're not a team anymore.
Yeah, that's what we need. We need to just start all booking our own separate flights.
Yeah, quit texting me.
We'd all just show up at different times.
What you talking about? You're our logistics guy.
No.
You're in the logistics seat, G. You are a logistics guy.
Nope.
You are.
That means I don't have to carry the case then. Because I'm logistics.
Hang on. One issue at a time. One issue. Hang on. Time out. One issue at a time. You are the logistic guy. Okay, we go post show. I'm just saying you are the logistics guy.
Okay, then
on the book of. Okay, that's a different problem. That's a different situation.
Yeah.
I'm the one carrying the case all the time. That is facts.
I'm fine with doing it. I do need to get pre-check in order to get through the line quicker, but I'm the one who's always been carrying it.
Oh yeah. We got.
I appreciate
This is good.
that.
These are some.
You know what?
Yeah, this is fine. These are some good issues to talk over.
Yeah, we can discuss this.
These are easy. Yeah, these are easily solvable.
I like.
Seems like this is good that we're getting
It is.
some of the rage, some of the stuff that's put down in the closet
I
out.
feel like we might work through a lot of positive things in the next month while Taylor's gone.
There's no question. There's no
We're gonna
question.
come back and be like, you know what? We don't actually need you anymore.
Hang on. We'll always need the
That's
big
a
guy.
joke. That's a joke, guys. Calm down.
I know
Taylor.
this would be one that we can all laugh and have fun with. But if the big guy's watching, we definitely need our guy. We need our guy.
Well, just put it at the end of the thing. He ain't watching the whole thing.
By the way, can you give us a recap of Vegas? What people can look forward to in the Vegas vlog?
Yeah. So Vegas, best 3 days of my entire life. No, I was sick, but we still got things done. A lot of gambling went on. Taylor once again comes out unscathed, wins an undisclosed amount of money that you will see in the vlog. We got to go to a Dave & Buster's, catch some of the Stetson game, the March Madness, check out some of their new games, which was, even when I was sick, really fucking cool. It was a new high-tech Dave & Buster's, so to say. We also got to go to UFC Fight Night and saw a couple really crazy knockouts that you'll see, saw some celebrities. One of our good friends that I'll tell you off camera was sitting next to us. We got to tune in the vlog to see it. Dana was in a blender one of the nights.
Was he there each night with you guys?
Nah, I think 2 nights, maybe 1 or 2 nights. But not every single night. And then I'll have to confirm with Taylor or not, but there might be a really sad part of the vlog. So we'll see if that gets put in or not. And I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, very exciting.
Another Vegas vlog coming.
Another Vegas vlog, man.
Coming down the pipe.
Hopefully there's just more and more.
Yeah.
More to come.
As long as people in the comments call for them.
Yeah.
Just keep throwing them down the pipe.
As long as y'all want one of them, I'll go, you know?
Oh, all right. We can get in this Brian Baumgartner episode. We hope you guys enjoy it. It's a fun one. I love his take on how he catches people taking photos of him. Yeah, you guys will see. Before we get to it, Cars.com, the leading digital marketplace that connects car shoppers with their perfect car, celebrating 25 years of helping shoppers research, find inventory, finance, and sell cars. Up to 50,000 cars are added daily to Cars.com. Shop over 2 million cars for 2 million possibilities. Find your next possibility on Cars.com. Where to next? And wherever life takes you next and whoever you're looking to be, there's a car on that for at Cars.com. Enjoy this episode with Brian Baumgartner. For all the tier ones and everybody sticking around, listen to this episode. We appreciate you guys. Big hugs, tiny kisses. Do not forget to leave comments and subscribe everywhere you are, whether you're listening on audio or getting this on YouTube or Rumble. Make sure you're subscribed and following the boys on all platforms.
Okay, all right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Bussin' with the Boys. We are with Brian Baumgartner.
I thought we were going to be on a bus.
Dude, look behind you. Life is full of surprises.
Got to get you to Nashville to get on the
bus.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Why didn't you bring the? Why didn't you? Oh, it doesn't run.
No.
All
It's
right.
like a novelty item.
Okay.
But what's not a novelty item is PXG golf, dude, and that's why you're here today, right?
It's not.
Did you like that?
It's not. That was really
Did
well
you see
done.
the pivot there?
By the way, he was really nervous about that
I was. Oh,
pivot
sorry.
there.
Yeah.
But yeah, you almost left him hanging.
I know that'd been terrible.
Yeah, PXG golf. It's not novelty at all.
In Greenville, JP over here, he's from Greenville.
Oh, you're
about
from
it.
Greenville.
Yeah, so I've been out to the tournament. See you out there.
Dude, it's the best. Greenville, South Carolina. Have you guys been to Greenville?
We have not, but we hear about it once a week.
I'm truly underrated city in this country. And let me just say this. And to the people of Greenville, I'm saying nice things. Remember that. My cousins lived I'm from Atlanta. My cousins lived in Greenville. Shithole.
Oh,
it was a shithole. What I mean by that is, like, there is nothing memorable and no real desire to go. Like, there's no, like, we're going to Greenville to visit our cousins, and we're going to drive home that same day because there's nothing to do. It is now underrated city in the country. It's
really?
Great.
What changed?
They rebuilt downtown. They put in a lot of, like, good restaurants and bars, and people are great. I feel like they got a influx. It's not far from Clemson and Furman, so they kind of brought in a destination, I guess, for younger people to go, and really good restaurants. Halls, shout out to Halls, is like the best.
Shout out to Halls.
It is, I'm there 6 or 7 nights for this event. I go to Halls.
Really?
6 or 7 nights, however many.
It's always great falling in love with a restaurant and establishment where you just feel like when I go here, I have to see this spot and I have to have this meal. For
I have
me,
to do that.
And they know I'm coming.
And they know I'm coming.
Yeah.
Have you been to Scottsdale, Arizona?
I have.
Have you ever been to a place called Zips Sports Grill?
No.
Okay.
Oh, well, maybe. I don't know.
No, you would remember.
Okay.
So Zips, if I'm on death row and they're like, hey, you have one more meal, my meal is going to be Zips, golden wings, extra crispy, extra saucy, and then a Monaco focaccia. That is, to me, like everything as far as my meal. I'm saying that to boast or to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm here to ask you, if you're on death row, what is your go-to? What's like the number one thing that like this is my favorite meal?
Favorite meal?
Meal, place you got to go to. Obviously, Halls might be a good reference point for you to.
You're dying tomorrow. Choose your favorites.
My favorite restaurant. Well, I will say, because I'm kind of stalling because I'm thinking, but I am very, very much like you. Like if I have a spot in a city, I will. That's where I go.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know if it's like some weird old timey mobster mentality. Like I know where the exit is. I know where the back door is. I know where the bathroom is. Like I don't know what it is. And if I find something good, I'm like, yeah, trying something new. I don't need to try something new.
Right.
You know what you like.
That's okay.
There's
Appetizer.
a new. They have one there where I live now. I'm not telling you. They just opened.
I'll find you.
Steak 48. Have you been to Steak? Is it called Steak 48 in
I've been to-
Scottsdale?
Is that
Steak
the one-
44.
Is that the one we
So
went
it's Steak
to?
48.
Is it? That's the place we went with
That's
Caleb.
a-
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
my
No.
It is.
He's saying Steak 48. The place we went with Steak 44.
But no,
Are the
but I
cousins
think it might be the same.
Really? Why the
The
number
Mastro,
changed?
this Mastro family, is that the steakhouse?
Yeah, they do
think it's the
Ocean.
same.
All I know is that place is incredible.
It's
Or
incredible.
44 is. I don't know about
Yeah.
48, what you guys got going
Yeah,
on.
it's phenomenal.
And so
that
what-
right now that would be it for me right now.
So what's the meal? What's the
what's
choice
the
at Steak 48?
appetizer, entree,
They have steak.
Yeah.
medium rare?
Low hanging
Granted.
fruit. Nice.
It depends on how they do it. I think there I go medium rare plus if we want to be specific.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good pull.
Yeah. And fantastic chilled. What do you call it? Seafood tower.
Oh, shit.
type
We'd
thing,
be-
like
yeah.
Hey,
we'd be good together.
Yeah.
All of
yeah,
us.
we could eat food together.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
We're big seafood tower guys.
Seafood tower. Got to get the seafood
It's
tower.
not just the taste; it's also the like presentation. of it, too.
presentation,
Yeah, it makes
yeah.
you feel more special. People look, they turn their heads when it comes in. You're like, yeah, I ordered that.
Yeah.
Horseradish.
Yeah, gotta have the extra horseradish.
Have to.
Have you ever been to a place called St. Elmo's,
I don't know. My memory is also bad. Where is it?
Indianapolis?
Indianapolis.
Oh.
They're famous for that shrimp cocktail.
Oh, yes. At Indianapolis when the Super Bowl was there, actually. Yeah, that's the only time I've ever been to Indianapolis.
And the St.
But I
Elmo's
think I did.
has a shrimp cocktail there. When we played, like anytime you go play Indianapolis, like that is the place you have to go. It'll reroute your whole sinus system.
So here's the thing, and I'm gonna make a transition here about this because this what you guys are talking about is what I'm about. What I love is like either food or like products. I was just talking to somebody about this knife store in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, because they do something incredibly well. They like you feel like they care, and I'm not just making this transition, but PXG is honestly that's why I work with them. Like I worked with, not to mention any names, a couple of the larger, more maybe traditional companies, and it's
PGA Tour?
not the same. What? I'm not saying anything.
PGA Live.
But they call it Bob Parsons from GoDaddy fame, ex-military guy. He started this company because he wanted to build good golf clubs, and he had the money to do it. But like, who does that? You would think, oh, I'm going to go and I'm going to find the best. He's like, no, I love to golf. I'm going to build this company out of literally nothing, put my name on it, and try to make the best clubs that I can. And it's why I'm here, and it really is applicable to what we've been talking about. Like whether it's a freaking awesome restaurant
Right.
or some little product or craft or, you know, something that I love to do, which is golf, that they do it really well. Like that's what excites me. Like in life, it's like these places that you're talking about. You think about Indianapolis, you think about St. Elmo's.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
The details.
yeah.
It's the details. And I've played 9 holes of golf is the most amount of golf I played at one time in my life, and that happened a month ago.
Right.
I'm awful.
Okay.
If you're going to take me on a journey of why PXG, their clubs are the best, what makes them the best to you?
I'll tell you a story. So I have been doing this, like, I don't even, celebrity golf, you know, like circuit thing, 18 years. 18 years. I play in tournaments around the country. We're talking about Greenville. Like that's a professional event that they invite celebrities to. They said, you got to try these clubs, Black Ops. And I was like, you know, again, military reference. And I was like, okay. They send them to me. I fly to Orlando. I'm on the Golf Channel playing golf on Thursday. I played one practice round with them. I had the best round that I have ever had in a tournament play on like in a real tournament, like on television tournament, and because the ball just goes further. Like you're just, you know, they're just better. Like I've never hit the ball better. And so when they were like, hey, do you want to come to the Super Bowl and talk about I was like, fuck yeah. I like talking about and being associated with companies that actually just do good.
Yeah.
Right. Where'd you finish in that tournament?
I mean, the next few days weren't as good, but the first day, the first
It's all about the first impression.
The first day, no, I was talking to, God, who was I talking to about this? It might have been Marcus Allen. We were talking about this, that people don't understand, and you guys are going to be the same way. I don't know if anybody plays it. Golf, you think of golf as like drinking beer and driving around in a cart and having fun, which
Stogies.
It is stogies, which it is. But like professional, like this tournament, 4 days, you're walking 8 miles, there's wind, there's rain, there's like, it's cold. It was in Orlando, it was 40 degrees when we teed off on the second day. And I live in Southern California. It's like Arizona. Like I don't play if it rains, I'll wait till tomorrow and play the next 20 days in a row. Like I don't need to play in bad weather. Just it becomes really difficult. So that's basically a way of saying it wasn't the club's fault. I fell apart throughout the tournament.
Are you a monster on the course? Like, are you pretty competitive?
It's the reason I do it is because it gives me that release and competition. Because I played sports as a kid, and golf is like there is an equalizer to golf, which you guys would like, where through the handicap system, like you can play Tiger Woods, like you can actually compete, given that however many strokes you get off of the other. Like there's a whole system behind it, so I can play with somebody way worse than me, and we can compete like against each other or people that are way better than me, and it's I love it as long as it's for money.
Do you have one? I have another one.
Good.
I was gonna ask, like, being an avid golfer and that being one of your big interests and hobbies, like, who are some of the coolest guys you've met, like, through the golf circuit and at all these celebrity tournaments?
Well, that's another reason why I'm here, is because so many people from your sport and others that I've gotten to meet. I mean, I was a huge sports fan, and at one point, this is a few years ago, I was like, let me check I think I had like 18 out of the 30 starting quarterbacks numbers in my phone, which is just golf. Like that we would meet, we would play, we would hang out. And a lot of thing about sports, a lot of the sports, and this is again a few years ago, a lot of the sports guys loved The Office. They would watch it on the road when it was on, and I'm a big sports, so there was this sort of like mutual, like, I don't know,
right,
love fest.
But it's got to be sick, happening. like knowing you're a young kid, like loving sports. Who's your team?
Well, so I'll tell you this. I'm from Atlanta, and I'm now a Dodgers guy because I love baseball. But John Smoltz, Tom Glavine, Greg Maddux, that trio of Braves pitchers back in the 90s, and they were going to World Series and winning. I now play golf with Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, and John Smoltz. And like my little self, and I was talking to John Smoltz actually earlier this week, because the baseball guys they go pro so early. He's not that much older than me, but I'm still like in high school, a child living at home and looking up to him. And now like, yeah, we play golf. So that's probably the coolest, like from little Brian, like to now, like, oh shit, like I can have this experience with these people through golf. And, you know, obviously here, the relationships with Hall of Fame guys from football, which is now is probably my top love now, is really fun for me.
Fellas, we interrupt this episode to bring you guys a solution for promoting hair growth. Your boy has been on it now for a few months, and I've got to say, I'm loving how the hair's looking full, luscious, and full of life. Nutrafol, the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand with over 1 million people seeking thicker, stronger, faster growing hair with less shedding. Nutrafol's hair growth supplements are physician formulated using 100% drug-free ingredients. No chemicals. Their patented technology provides consistent, reliable results without compromising your sex life. While many supplements rely solely on ingredient studies, Nutrafol's clinically tested final formulations to ensure their efficacy. In a clinical study, 84% of men showed improvement in their hair after 6 months of taking Nutrafol's men's hair growth supplements. Take their wellness quiz on Nutrafol.com/men for a personalized hair health plan based on your specific root causes. Take the first step to visibly thicker, healthier hair for a limited time. Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com/men and enter promo code BUSSIN. Find out why over 4,500 healthcare professionals and hairstylists recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com/men. That's Nutrafol.com/men and enter promo code BUSSIN. Nutrafol.com/men, promo code BUSSIN. Back to the episode.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I love that, man. If you bring up the celebrity, you bring up The Office. Is there ever like, are you sick of talking about The Office? Are you sick about people talking about the chili? Talking about the moments,
yeah,
because it was an iconic show and it's hilarious. It's a show that you can watch and follow the storylines, but it's also a show you can put in the background and just get a giggle once in a while, and you feel like tuning out to your real life.
Right.
And so people have so many feelings about it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's got to get exhausting.
Well, the joke is, which I've made it a lot, was last night. I was talking to, I ran into Tony Romo, who I know through golf, and his wife, who is Chase Crawford's sister, who I know Chase for a long time, and she was talking about, you know, them watching the show and whatever, like late at night and watching it in bed. And so there's like an intimacy. I knew Chase, I knew Tony. I don't think we had ever met before, but like they are watching me in bed. Right?
Yeah.
Like they are watching me in bed, like, and a lot of people, the number of people who say, like, I put it on before I go to sleep.
Yeah.
Like people are, and so when they run in to me, they feel like they know me.
Yeah,
like I've
absolutely.
shared these moments. I'm not even being sexual, by the way. I'm just literally saying, like, I'm not. That's not where I'm going. But I mean, just like, me and them and bed. Yeah, I don't know. That's
that's
way
good.
to not
Hey,
make it sexual, but there's an
TV
intimacy. I mean, the way we always talked about is like, I think that walking through a day in Vegas, Tom Cruise probably would not get approached as much as me, because Tom Cruise is 50 feet tall on a movie screen and is like he's there. I don't know why I use Tom Cruise as an example, but you know what I'm saying. Like that is like a movie star, and I feel like people would be like, "Oh, there's Tom Cruise." With me, it's like, "Let's have a drink." Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just different.
Has anybody gotten a bad Brian Baumgartner experience?
Bad for me?
Yeah, well, just you were in a bad mood or something, and you feel like thinking back, you're like, they didn't get the real Brian.
Well, I mean, look, I would answer this. I would answer it multiple ways. There is a time, and because especially we're talking about Vegas, sometimes the nights go longer here. There is a time everybody's done, right? Like you're done. You're hanging out with your friends, and you're just done. And the time for pictures is done. And it's not like I'm trying to be a jerk. It's just like I'm done. I'm just done. And later I'm like, so that person may think that I'm an asshole. I try to always be nice about it, but it's like, I'm not. But the thing for me is taking pictures of me without asking.
Like just staying on the side,
like I'm a zoo animal. Like I'm at the zoo. I'm the monkey, and they're standing back, like taking it. It's just such a weird thing.
Bizarre.
Yeah, it's like there are plenty of pictures of me on the internet. Like if you need to see me, that's right. Like what is like I don't know that's the one thing where I'm like I will get a little testy.
Oh, so have you called somebody and you're like, hey, put the phone down. Oh, you'll finger him over?
Really?
You finger him over?
And they just come tail between their legs.
Oh, yeah.
You ever have somebody run away?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Like, yeah. Like,
yeah, and out of there. Don't want to get in trouble?
What do you say when you finger him over?
It depends on the circumstances. It depends on the circumstances. The thing that I have done a lot is come after I have seen them, like, pretending to take a picture of their pasta at a restaurant, but they're clearly taking a picture of me.
Yeah.
And then I'll get up to leave the restaurant and they'll say, hey, can I have a picture? And then I just will, as quickly as I can, say, yeah, if you delete the ones you took of me earlier.
Wait, I bet
is that Dickie? Is that Dickie?
I bet they just lose the color in their face.
Yeah. But I mean, like, come on, right?
Yeah.
Taking a picture without, like, that, isn't that weird?
No, no question. And also in a social setting, if they're like, hey, check out this photo I got of Brian, it's just you, like, talking to somebody. It's like, is that exciting? Like, you're in the same
That's what I'm saying.
Especially if you're going to ask for a photo.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I think they think that they don't have the balls, and maybe they have a cocktail and they get some more balls, and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna ask him now.
Yeah.
It's like, I the other thing that I feel like has changed through the success of the show or whatever, and I've joked about, I feel like, remember the original Terminator? Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he would walk in and I'd be able to scan a person as like, that is a threat. That is not, like, I feel like I walk through life that way. I feel like I walk through life. Like if I walk into a room, okay, like they're going to be trouble. Mm-hmm. Like they have no idea who I am. They're, big fans, but look nice or
might
whatever.
Have to maneuver the room this
whatever.
Way.
Yeah.
When you were scanning the room when you first walked in, how'd you feel about us?
This one?
How'd your
it was kind of dark when I walked in, and the light was in my eyes, so I couldn't really see.
That's how we get
I couldn't really see.
Yeah.
I was expecting a bus, and then it was a hotel room.
Nothing. That's what we do, man. We throw you off a little bit.
Yeah. No, I like it.
Going through the room, scanning. Go ahead, hit me with the boys in the back there. Who's a threat? Who's not a threat back there?
I like Greenville. I'm happy about Greenville.
All right, Greenville's not a threat.
Although now he left.
Yeah.
There he is.
Babe.
Is that a San Diego hat? Yeah, see, I would judge that immediately.
You're not, because the Padres, not because you said you live in California. What part of California you live in?
Yeah, I'm a Dodgers guy.
You like baseball more than football?
Growing up, I played a lot of baseball. I would say now I follow football. I mean, I've done a bunch of stuff on NFL Network, and I love talking about it. I love watching it. It is the easiest to be able to see everything, and obviously not everything, but in baseball it's impossible, right? You're not watching 16 games every day of the week, but the way football spreads it out, and you got one game here. Yeah, I mean, I'm watching a lot of it, but I love it and love talking about it.
Who's your team?
Packers.
You guys are the most spoiled quarterback franchise of all time, huh?
Well, it's been a good run.
It's been nice.
Sure. It's been a good run.
Other franchises are just scrounging around trying to find their guy, and you guys just happen to fall into one every 15 years.
It's crazy, right? I mean, they legitimately should have won 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
They legitimately should have won.
58 minutes.
Yeah. They legitimately should have won. And it was, but I think for the first time in a long time, it was also like, you know what? They did good. Like there was no like there was no disappointment. I mean, obviously in the moment.
Because it was rough in the first half of the year, and then they really put on.
Starting Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Like they just started looking great. Defense started playing a little bit better. But it was fun.
It's the whole thing, like expectation and the result. Like the expectation, Jordan Love, you don't know what you have yet, ups and downs of the season, and then they make it as far as they did, playing the team that's in the Super Bowl now, being like, hey, that was awesome. A lot to look forward to. Kind of like the Lions. Like obviously a very big disappointment losing the NFC Championship, but you in Detroit, if you're a Detroit fan, you're like, bro, we are going to be good. You have this now feeling in your head like maybe we're the next dynasty.
Right.
And then you, and being a fan of the Packers, you're like, dude, we get to go through another opportunity to be contenders every single year for the next however many years until we find the next quarterback.
Yeah. I will say this though, and I haven't talked about this so much. I think it's very easy to be like, it's the same. It's like Favre and it's Rodgers and it's, now Love. But I think the other part that is surprising and it kind of feel good. I don't know why. That's such a lame way to say it, but I think with Favre, they knew what they had. I think with Rodgers, they knew what they had. And I think legitimately, if they say inside that building now that they made this decision to bring in Love because they knew he was ready, that's a lie. Mm-hmm. I don't think it was the same this time. Now, I think they can look back and Gutekunst can say like, well, I drafted him, I knew what he had or whatever. But for me, that's a little disingenuous because I think they were very publicly unclear about what they had, but he started playing great. I mean, you can't argue with that.
Because you're saying like they knew and they were ready for Rodgers to take over. It's just if Favre would decide to come back or there'd be drama, and you're kind of just like waiting on things to play out. But they were very excited about Aaron Rodgers, whereas with the whole Aaron leaving and Jordan being there, it's kind of like, well, it's kind of like Aaron can, he can do it as long as he can. This will be really good for Jordan, who actually knows what we have. But you got to be ready for, as Aaron left.
I mean, the other thing is, people talking about the Packers and maybe some people, jaded people saying like they're lucky or whatever. Guys, like sitting a guy that you drafted for a couple of years maybe is not a bad fucking idea. Like why they're throwing, no disrespect to anybody, but if you're drafting high, you're shitty to start with. And so you draft a guy, you bring him in, you're shitty as a team, you can't protect him, you don't have playmakers around him. Now he's getting his balls beat in and his confidence shook. And then you're surprised with 3 years later that we still don't know about him, or he hasn't performed, or, he moves to Kansas and retires or whatever. Mm-hmm. But like, having somebody that I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but sitting somebody, I know you make a huge investment and you want to get better as fast as you can, but man, bringing in a veteran, I mean, Jordan Love, Aaron and I know each other really well, and I've watched a hell of a lot of Packers games, and by the end of the season, Green 18, his tone, his rhythm, the way he does fakes, it's very Rodgers-esque. Mm-hmm. Like if you watch him now, how did that throw off the back? Yeah. How did that happen? He watched him. Mm-hmm. He sat there and watched him for 2 or 3 years. Anyway, I
love the passion. I love the tangents. Yeah. There's definitely truth to that. I feel like it's so circumstantial because a lot of it just depends on the organization. Is the head coach going to actually get an opportunity? Are they just going to cover their ass by throwing them out there and be like, see, it's not us, it's you guys drafting this? Like, there's so much political bullshit that it's circumstantial, but I do agree that it's only going to benefit the player.
Yeah, and obviously it is player dependent, but you're not going to have a tremendous amount of success if you don't have an offensive line to protect your largest asset and potentially best player.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
They're not going to be good.
Right.
Yeah, but it's so tough with the NFL because there's zero patience in the NFL. If you look like the Panthers franchise, they're turning over coaches like it's nothing because everybody's so impatient and wants to compete. And if you have like your largest asset, you draft a quarterback in the first round, that's a lot of money and that's a lot of impatient fans that have more access to you through social media, and you hear the noise so much more to where even though you're this top exec or you're this owner and you should have the mental fortitude to withstand that, it's so difficult to go and be like, we're going to sit this guy for a year and let him learn and develop, as opposed to like just throwing him in there.
I hear you.
Fuel by fire.
And look, it's if you are the Packers, you have somebody good who's playing already, and you're playing at a high level. So that I get that that's a difference.
Were you bummed when your boy left Green Bay? Based on I'm assuming the golfing conversations.
Look, I think that he was ready to go. And I think it was best for him, which makes it not it's like sad, I guess, but sad in like a nostalgic way, like that Derek Jeter play, all these years for one franchise type thing. But I think the reality was he needed to go somewhere else, and he's been incredibly happy in New York. And I mean, let's face it, they probably, not probably would have been playing here, but they certainly would have had a chance to be playing here today. And he got hurt, but it sounds like he's energized and ready to come back next year.
Yeah.
The Aaron Rodgers obviously has been the guy that has been in the headlines about the COVID stuff and ayahuasca. Have you ever wanted to take ayahuasca with him?
I have not taken ayahuasca with him.
Would you ever want to?
I've not taken ayahuasca with him.
I have not taken ayahuasca.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
I have not taken ayahuasca with him.
You have not taken it.
I have not.
If the option came to you to go on a journey,
I have not taken ayahuasca.
Okay, all right, fair enough. That's a fair question. That was a loaded question. I would take ayahuasca with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
that was.
Okay.
Yeah, hey, that was. Come here. Delete that photo.
Delete those.
Yeah. Because the way you answered the Aaron Rodgers question, you're like, oh, he's had that conversation with Aaron. He's trying to be do good by his boy right now. I think he was ready. I think
these motherfuckers ain't getting me.
Yeah. Is that a surreal feeling when you're able to meet these guys you're fans of? Do you, like, as a celebrity yourself, do you get that feeling like, oh my God, that's so and so?
Oh, for sure. Mm-hmm. Like yeah. I mean, and it's sort of like because The Office is stayed so popular and people are still watching it. It's even just some of the young guys who are starting out in the league now who are watched it or currently watching it or whatever. It's really fucking. I mean, like Aaron or Josh Allen or Mahomes, Kelsey, those guys are all playing in tournaments with me over the year, and we're joking around and chatting, and of course that's cool for me.
All right, boys, we interrupt this episode to bring you Verizon. We are always relying on our phones to keep us up with the latest news of football, sports, trends, everything. Whether you're streaming games, searching live scores across the NFL, or keeping up with major trades, I can always trust my phone to get me there. There is nothing worse than your phone glitching out during the game on the winning drive or finding out who's being taken first overall in the NFL draft. That's why you can rely on Verizon's fast, reliable network that lets you stream games and keep up with what's happening in real time. Verizon also has amazing home internet, so you can stay up to speed both on the go and at home. Verizon has you covered on the go and at home. Plus, when you bundle your mobile and home internet, you can save tons of money. Visit Verizon.com/Barstool to learn more. Back to Brian Baumgartner.
House, dude, it's got to be so sick knowing that the part of the Office dynasty franchise, like getting to look back and back, man, we were really part of something that will be battle tested and last a very long time. Like, again, newer generations, like you come on, oh, you haven't watched The Office? You got to go turn The Office on. Like, and then people start watching it like, oh, you're totally right about it. And then it will continue to happen.
Yeah.
It's got to be so cool to look back and be like, man, we were part of something special.
Dude, yeah. I mean, the crazy thing is that, and part of this is that, streaming is on the newer side. But I mean, it is the only show that I can think of in the history of television that got bigger once we were done.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we were on, like, you know, won Emmys and you know, we were NBC's biggest show when it was on. So it was a hit. I'm not saying it wasn't, but we were not Friends and we were not Seinfeld. We were not even Cheers. Like we were not that. And part of it was the way the show was constructed. And I'm really not making a joke. Like spoiler alert, like I don't look like David Schwimmer or, you know, our Jennifer Aniston and Courtney. Like this is not, we weren't on the cover of Vogue and Glamour magazine or whatever the big magazines are. Fuck, we probably couldn't have been on Barstool if there was a magazine. So we weren't that, but the fact that people found it and then it just kept growing and growing and growing. And then it was around the COVID time when the stats came out and we were all like, I mean, the text, like the group text was like insane because it was like they released the streaming numbers and it was like, not only are we number one, but we're double number two, and that's Friends. And then it goes down from there. I mean, just the number of people who found it, like how huge it got once the show was done. That's the part that was surprising. I mean, I was always very proud. You know, we did 10 years, 9 seasons.
Yeah,
like,
man.
That doesn't happen a lot. No. But to be able to do that and feel really good about the show, like that's awesome. But the fact that it's continued to live like it has now is like, I mean, yeah, it's crazy.
When you get to the end of those 9 seasons and everything's wrapping up and there's truly going to be an end date. Now, some shows just get canceled. This one actually got to have a full lifetime. Where were you at as far as like, were you ready for it to be over, or were you like, there was more juice in there for you?
You know, that's a really good question. I think that collectively, and this kind of sounds like bullshit. It sounds like too good to be true or something. The reality was, you know, Carell left. Carell was there a long time and he was homing the show. And I think you can make an argument that him leaving allowed some other things to happen, but we were going to continue to lose people. So there was a conscious decision, like, I don't know if you know the show or remember, but like ER, like, are we gonna ER it? Mm-hmm. Like, is Clooney gonna leave? And then Juliana Margulies, like, are all these characters gonna leave and we're just gonna plug in a new cast member and keep
CSI,
going? And you've got a few people who stay, but a lot of people leave or whatever.
Scrubs.
So we were like, we had that story that we wanted to tell, and the decision was we all need to be there, or as many of us as we can be there to kind of finish the story. And then once that, the creator's belief was, once this documentary that we're filming for 9 years that never comes out, that once it comes out, then the show can never be the same, because now these characters who have been just behaving, now they'll be behaving because they've seen themselves on television. By the way, Greg Daniels, who I'm talking about, he's absolute genius, because you look at reality shows now, not that I watch very many of them, but I know enough to know, you know, there's a Real Housewives or whatever it is, and then season 2, they behave differently, or they've gotten some plastic surgery, or that because they've now watched themselves on television, they play to the camera a little bit differently because now they see how they come off, or they want to come off. So their behavior changes. So his idea was, once these guys, this accountant named Kevin Malone, sees himself on television, he's gonna act differently after that. So that's why that for him, that was always the end of the show. The show is shown, the world sees it, the characters see it, and it's done.
With like reality TV show and people see themselves the next season they're looking themselves differently, like you're saying. As an actor, obviously you're not supposed to change anything, but from your process of going about it, how difficult was it for you to like see season 1, take those mental notes, and then be like, all right, I've got to be the same character with the new developments that these creators have made for me?
Yeah, so I mean, may have never happened in the history of the show. That was the second good question.
Did I go 2 for 2?
Yeah, you went 2 for 2.
Oh yeah, dude. That fires me.
Early on, you had some rough, but that was 2.
That's good. I balanced
deleted
it out.
those photos.
Yeah.
Deleted those photos.
Yeah. So ayahuasca.
I think any show it makes it what television uniquely different from film is that there is a development that happens, right? Even like practical things, like you're, season 3 you get married, like you have a baby on the, your characters have, so things change. I think behavior starts to change as well, and they write a different storyline. You think about like, what do they call them? Just like soap opera, like primetime soap. It gets the stories get crazier and crazier as like each and everybody's having sex with somebody else. So they were still trying to find, I think, Kevin Malone early on, and they sort of fell in love with the writers. I'm talking about. Sort of fell in love with the, let's just call it childlike sensibility of him, and started to write more to that. And so as an actor, if you're like, well, how can I change? So I'll share this with you. I had a nerdy justification. Nerdy justification is Kevin Malone has never seen cameras, and cameras are now filming him. But as he becomes more comfortable, this is in the world of the fake documentary, as he becomes more comfortable with the camera people and the sound people, and maybe goes out to have a beer with them after work, he starts to feel more comfortable. So more of his true personality comes out over time. That was my justification.
Yeah.
Nice.
Was that you?
Changing. That was my personal, that was how I justified being able to do stuff. I think for the writers, they just were like, this is funnier and fits in best with the other characters that we have. So they started tweaking like how it was.
For you, you're looking at it as like your craft. Like they kind of want to write me this way. How can I kind of develop in my own right of how I can start to act a certain way and get more comfortable? Were there any big friction moments amongst the cast and the writers, like as you guys were in the middle and later seasons?
No. That's a good question too. But I think that the biggest thing was, if you're a fan of the show and you followed it, the thing that caused the most conversation was the Jim and Pam relationship, and the because they were doing, and it was just, essentially the same thing as like Ross and Rachel, the like on again, off, are they, right, will they, won't they, that whole thing. And finding because people became so freaking crazy about that relationship. And so finding that balance between maybe there's another woman that Jim is interested in, but let's not disrespect Pam, or like make sure that is still alive, because they know they're going to kind of continue with that. Mm-hmm. That was the biggest discussion point. And I've said before, like, nothing shut down production on a day than like we're going to have a big Jim and Pam scene today, and it's like, oh boy, we're going to be here a long time, because they're gonna need some time to figure it out.
Yeah. For your like character development, when you're like taking those risks and the justification of you're seeing cameras for the first time, you're getting more comfortable. Battery went out again. This is the kind of production we're dealing with, brother. I hope you're enjoying. When you're going through that process, what's it like for you to have the writers write something for you, and then you taking a risk to try something new and work through the process of like, hey, you envision it one way, they envision it another, and then how do you guys come to that like common ground?
Well, so the Greg Daniels, who I mentioned before, he was from SNL, mm-hmm. and so a huge component of the show was kind of an SNL model, which was, the cast of SNL. As I understand it, you're hired as an actor or you're hired as a writer, but oftentimes the writers, like Tina Fey, starts to appear as a character, or starts acting. Is not just a writer, and actors will write skits and pitch stuff and whatever. And Greg believed very much. So like, we're here in this hotel room in Las Vegas right now. Like if we were shooting, like if this were a real production where the lights didn't go out, and we were shooting, like the writers for this, they might be over at Mandalay Bay, like they're in another building, at NBC Universal or wherever, like in their writers' offices, and they would have some guy come over. We were all there. Like we had an independent studio. We had 2 sound stages. The writers were there. Post-production, editors were there. So it was like, you could, if you had a scene off, you could just stroll over to the editing bay and look at stuff, and they'd be like, "Hey, what do you think about this? I've got these 2 different takes that you did." They would ask us, which in real television, like normal television, never happens. You never get asked by an editor, like, "Hey, which one do you like better?" Or like the writer being like, "Hey, I'm thinking about this storyline for you. What do you think?" We had in the summer, so we would shoot a bunch of episodes. Then before you started the new season, we would go in and talk to the writers. They'd be like, "What do you see for your character this season?" Or we're thinking about this. What do you think? Or how do you think that would? Yeah. So it was total open dialogue, and most of the time it's very much, I can't think of the word, but it's very much like the writers are in charge in television. The writers are in charge.
You stick to the script.
And stick to the script. Yeah.
All right, fellas, we interrupt this episode to let you in on a little known fact. The chances of getting a perfect bracket is 1 in 120.2 billion. For the rest of us, instead of not watching after our bracket is busted, why not be rewarded for it? This March, when you lose, you win at Dave & Buster's. Throughout the tournament, we're washing away your sorrows with $2 beers. Terms and conditions apply. And anyone whose bracket has been busted can DM Dave & Buster's with a picture of their bracket across all of their social media handles. In reward, Dave & Buster's will be giving away 1 million chips of free gameplay while supplies last, with the terms and conditions also applying. But hurry, all chips will be given away and must be redeemed at your local Dave & Buster's before the tournament ends. Come to Dave & Buster's for $2 beers all tournament long and DM your busted bracket to Dave & Buster's for free gameplay while supplies last. Terms and conditions apply. Back to the episode.
It seems like you guys were all very close. Like the chemistry was high, especially if you're having conversations like that.
Yeah.
Did it feel like all the cast members, like you guys are basically becoming this little family because you guys spent like all these years together?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and we still, we have our little group texts and stuff, and we're still, going back and forth. And, people, not you guys, you would never ask something stupid like this, but like, who's your favorite? Like, who did you like the most or whatever? And I'm answering that dumb question because I think my answer is, which is true, is like we were so much a family, but like you treat your crazy aunt different than your sister, or your parents different from your grandparents or whatever. So like, we've a few of us, John Krasinski and Rainn Wilson and myself and Andy Buckley, who played David Wallace, and a bunch of the crew, we play fantasy football together. So like every fall, still we're now like 18 or 19 years in a row. So we're just like shit talking about who's going to perform higher on a given week, and there are other people I travel with, vacation with, and do dinner and talk business, and so the relationships are just different, but they're all still strong and good.
You talk about shit talking in fantasy football. If I'm going to go on the golf course with you, get a couple of those PXG clubs, and we get after it. Yeah. What can I expect from you from your process of shit talking?
No one can shit talk better than me.
That's the number one telltale sign of someone who is not great at talking shit.
Oh, that is?
Yeah.
To say that you talk shit? Well,
to someone say I'm the greatest shit talker of all time, my first thought is probably not.
Dude,
that's a fair point.
I could see you like taking a swing or whatever, and it just as you turn around and think like, did anybody see that? He just gives you the finger to come over and give you a little tip.
See, I can see myself in the short amount of sample time we've had. I could see us playing, and me pushing the envelope a little bit, and you going, come over here, like, hey, that's offsides. We're not going to do that.
Well, here's the thing: if you're shitty, which you admit that you are,
Yeah, I have my moments.
I wouldn't shit talk you. There would be no reason to.
Mm-hmm.
I would give you. The only thing that you might challenge me on is I would give you potentially patronizing encouragement.
Yeah. But that's the best kind when you're above somebody that much.
That was better.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Hey, you really got a hold of that one as
You
it
hit
travels
that
into
one.
the woods and kills a squirrel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You hit it well.
Yeah. It would have gone far if it was straight.
Yeah.
That was a nice deal.
Right. Do you guys see The Office? You guys having like some reunion down the line?
Probably.
Nice. You want to announce that right now?
No.
Good.
I don't have any.
Me either.
Yeah, I don't.
I thought that'd be a
have any.
ridiculous thing to do.
Yeah, that would be good for you guys.
Yeah,
if
hey,
I
that
had
would
an
be-
announcement.
I know. That would be
Yeah,
good
it's
for us,
Super
man.
Bowl week. Let me just be honest with you guys. We can do a
fake one.
I think the gang will get back together in some form at some time. That's what I think.
You have to, man. I watch Friends. I see their reunion, and you just think to yourself. I think I was talking to you about it, but you know, when we think about playing with our teams in high school, you think about your high school days. You had 4 years or you grew up with them. You have your college guys, like your group chats that you stay in, fantasy leagues and shit like that. And you reminisce on the old days and you realize you're with these guys and you have these relationships and you're with them for, 4 or 5 years. In the NFL, you have your teams. I was with Washington for 5. Taylor, my best friend, I was around him for we played as teammates 2 years and you have all these relationships. And I just thought to myself, like, as I was watching the Friends reunion, they're all coming back together. They all went their different ways. They're all coming back. And it's just like, man, it's so cool, but also, it's like this full nostalgia. They got to spend, like you guys got to spend how many seasons? 9, 10 years?
10 years, 9 seasons.
10 years, like more than like double college, double high school, all of it. Like
That's what I always say.
around each other, man.
More than double high school,
right? More
college.
than, and so you can only imagine how intertwined everybody is. You vacation, you're just like, man, we had these moments, and it's obviously only right that at some point in time down the line, like it all comes back together. And you're just like, man, we had a hell of a run.
Yeah,
we had a hell of a run. But I think that is I think it's just really cool. I think especially you get to be a part of something like that, and I feel like that's why you and everybody in that cast would be so approachable just out on the street because it was such a relatable gifts, quotes, all of it, man. And it's really cool that you got to be a part of that.
Yeah,
yeah.
I feel like
we really appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah,
this is awesome.
Thanks.
We'll have to
Thanks,
get you in
guys.
Nashville on the
if we ever
actual
get a
bus.
chance, like
Nash, I want the actual bus.
Yeah,
man. If
that
you're
would
in
be
Nashville,
that would be bussin'.
There's some golf courses in Nashville now. You gotta.
Yeah, you play
You
Troubadour?
guys get that?
Yeah, I got that.
I have played Troubadour actually.
What an opportunity. Come back, play Troubadour,
Yeah.
get you on the bus.
I like that.
Should talk on the course a little bit.
That'd be nice.
Swing some
Yeah.
PXG.
You guys live in Troubadour?
No,
there's
but we
no
can get
chance.
to Troubadour because we live in
There's
Nashville.
No
We
chance.
wouldn't be allowed in?
No. What?
You don't think we'd be allowed in?
Maybe.
Can I tell you my biggest issue with golf? My biggest problem with it?
This might be a very important conversation.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
It's like, I like the Troubadours. I like the Discovery properties where it's kind of like more casual.
Yeah.
The thing that bothers me the most is when I walk into a country club or I do some sort of event. I'm at a country club and they're like, hey, you could be a member. Do you want to be a member? And I just say, can I dress like this? And like, you need the collared shirt. You need to tuck in. There's an attitude about it that's what bothers me.
Yeah, there's I don't disagree with that, but I think that's selective. I think there is like, there are just like anything, like tradition, like there's a, I mean, it's like, it's been going on over 100 years or whatever. Like there's a tradition based thing that they need to get their head out of their ass. I totally agree with that. But I think it's also not like the places where I am are not that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why like an event like Waste Management.
Yeah.
It's such a fun switch up event.
Great.
For golf. That makes
Great.
it like, I can be a part of that.
That's fun.
That'd be awesome. Chug a beer, throw it on the thing, hole in one, everyone goes crazy.
Yeah.
That is an awesome event.
Yeah.
But that's always been my kind of like hang up about golf. Or like the culture of
like
golf.
that you feel like it's stuffy.
Yeah, it feels a little stuffy.
But
to
it
me.
doesn't have to be.
And that's what I need to. That's where I need to do a better job of changing.
Yeah.
And understanding that because our boys in the back, like G right there with the boys hat on, big golf guy who loves golf. These guys play golf all the time. They try to get me in it, and I always have this like golf is for people that have made it type of vibe.
Yeah. Well, this may not. This
bring me over.
No,
bring me over.
This may not be. No, I mean, maybe you had to make it to be a troubadour, but I mean, I think Troubadour is a great example, and there are a lot of other places like that are like we're doing it our way.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing it different, and we want it to be fun and an experience, and yeah, I mean those are the places that I want to play too.
Mm-hmm.
There's one here, you know, it's as exclusive as you could get, but that's the vibe. Shadow Creek here in Las Vegas. I mean, it is so fun, and they make it fun, and yeah, you just got to find places like that.
Got to get you those courses, man.
Yeah,
no doubt. Well, next time you're in Nashville, go to Troubadour.
All right, perfect.
Yeah,
Hit a couple
Brian,
things
thank
up.
you, man.
I'm in.
Thanks for coming on the
All right.
show.
This
Thanks,
was
guys.
awesome.
Cheers.
This was awesome. Yes,
Thank you.
sir.
All right. Yeah.
You get a photo of you?
Yeah.